Last we left our heroes, you'd rested in the Somerset Isle of the Feywild and dreamt of its lush jungle and temperature growing colder and harsh. Upon awakening, you found no sign of this cold, harsh temperature. However, you made your way up to the floating isles of Senelise, the court of the Summer Queen. Here you spoke with her once more, and you learned of the past between the Crow and the Queen, of loss and of vengeance. However, more immediately, you were set to travel to Gale Eden in the Fading Realm to utilize an item of giant-kind magic that would aid in locating the Crow, who is currently shrouded by the Ring of Winter. You passed through and met two figures of Titania's court, and they led you to this underground cavern and this ominous bloodstone. With Valentine's bloodline connected to the Crow, you may be able to pinpoint his movements across the realms, subverting this kind of protection from the ring. Submitting to the ritual, you were presented a vision of the Crow exiting a frozen cavern mouth. At his back, a small army of frost giants, led by a figure of your past in the Jarl of the frost giants of Gauntlgrim. They appeared to be in the realm of Deep Winter, and together the decision came to return to Titania's side and make a plan of action from there. Upon arrival, the discussion turned toward potentially entering the court of the Queen of Deep Winter, Queen of Air and Darkness, trying to suss out her court's involvement, if there be any, or even to gather more allies in the event that they are innocent. Upon arrival here, as you got your bearings, and the location of the location of the Crow shifted as you crossed this vast amounts of terrain. And as you crossed from Senelise to Deep Winter, he appeared to be much closer, no longer in the realm of Deep Winter. Instead, he, by Valentine's kind of internal compass through this ritual, he seemed to be across a frigid riverbed on the shores of Everbloom. To the dismay of Dahlia, one of the Queen's ladies of light, she announced that the Crow seemed to be near a gravesite of a figure named Tarathian Quill, a former Lord of Light and former wielder of Aetherius, this blade the Queen had mentioned. Thus the focus changed, and you made your way with haste to this grove. As you arrived here, it seemed the Crow had moved further north, but 4 frost giants had remained, tearing at the willow trees and hunting for something unknown. In time, the giants were tricked and prodded into moving on, and you found the marked grave of Tarathian, where his body was found frozen and shattered, but the sword nowhere to be seen. Finally, you reconvened again, tried to piece everything together, all this information you'd learned. It was decided to scry on the Jarl, who you'd seen come through with the Dubkatha. And as you did, through your scrying orb, you saw crystalline caverns inside an island of snow and ice. A horde of giants and the Jarl digging and excavating the ice within, hunting for something beneath. The Jarl seemed to strike true and find a source of something they've been seeking, and was congratulated, seemingly, by another figure of your past, a mind flayer who once served Azrael Umbrasil, Valentine's father. Now, seemingly serving the brother. And this is where we're going to pick up tonight. As the vision of the scry spell fades from Valentine, and the rest of you look about your space waiting for Valentine's response after this ritual, you look about the once beautiful grove of willows and cherry blossoms that now lie, in part at least in this area, destroyed and torn asunder. And this vision being received, your vision returns to you, Valentine, and we pick up tonight. What do you guys do?
So to confirm, they don't know that I just saw that?
No, this was strictly in your scrying eye. So through the scrying orb, a personal visions, the rest of you watch as this 10-minute ritual passes. I believe it's 10 minutes, in which Valentine kind of goes misty-eyed and looks down at this orb, which just to the rest of you, as Valentine has this vision and reverts into this kind of misty-eyed, almost meditative stance, the orb just turns from kind of a clear crystal to a swirl of gray and silver energy, and you can kind of see vague, like almost shadowy figures like within, but you cannot make anything out. However, it seeming some kind of representation that Valentine is seeing something. But nonetheless, Valentine.
Oh, that's not great.
What's wrong? You made a face.
Well, yeah. Well, I found him. He's up north. Actually, I don't know if I got a glimpse of him, but I definitely saw the Jarl.
Yeah, to clarify, the Duke Katha was not within the vision of the scry. You specifically scried on the Jarl, and you saw it was difficult to make out as the scry is very focused on a singular individual, but you could make out the sounds of several other figures within this cavern he was in, but you did manage to see the Mind Flayer associate as he came up and congratulated him silently in success of some pursuit.
So I saw them. They were up north, presumably where my uncle is, and they were digging in the ice for something frozen beneath the surface. And I couldn't really see, but I assume it was a bunch of frost giants banging in there. And then they got happy, they found something. And as the vision kind of went dark, I'll look over at Hondo. Hondo, do you remember the name of that guy who tried to eat your brain that one time? The Mind Flayer?
How would I remember his name? He ate my brain.
Well, yeah, that's, I guess, to be debated if he did or didn't eat your brain. He was there. The Mind Flayer that was with my dad.
No hard feelings. I will try to make amends with him again.
Oh,
Please
that
don't.
went
Please
so
don't.
well last time.
Yeah, that's not a good sign at all.
So what does that mean? He pieced out. When we fought my dad and he saw that the tide was turning, and after he got a real rotten taste of Hondo's brain, he jumped out of there. So I don't know if he's working for my uncle now, or he's definitely united with the frost giants.
I mean, it's too big of a coincidence, right? This has to be hag shit.
Yeah, or beyond that, I mean, is it the vow? Is it the Revenant Vow shit?
So far, we haven't seen any hint of the two of them working together.
The giants were connected to the vow loosely, right? Remember they waged war against...
Right, they were connected to Egoth.
Yeah.
Before Egoth was... I doubt even at that point Egoth knew what the fuck he was getting into. He was just oh, here's a way to take over the city that you've wanted to rule forever. Go.
Egoth being the evil Goliath we previously fought, and then fought before that, who was waging war against Arendelle.
Killed an Arendelle and then came back to life. Yeah. Piece of shit who killed my mentor.
Oh yeah, that's right. We should get into that.
We don't know, and we won't know until we look into it more, I guess. Does that mean your father's still around? Or is it just, allegiance to family?
I mean, we saw Egoth twice, he's dead. Other dead people are coming back to life.
I don't think we've ever successfully gotten rid of someone who hates an enemy. I don't think we've ever completely eliminated any of the people we've come up against. They always seem to come back.
Yeah, even that guy, Hondo. Remember Hondo cut that guy's face off, that hobgoblin? And wore his face like a mask, and then he came back and he was so mad about that. That was a good time. Simpler time.
Okay, well, what's our next step?
Okay, that was a lot of info. I'm admittedly a little worried to be caught out in the Feywild too long. Do we head back to the Summer Queen?
At this point, your companion Dahlia, who's with you, the Eladrin Lady of Light, says, before your scry, we had discussed utilizing some of my magic to transport ourselves back to Senoris, to report in with Titania and see. Report what we have learned, and see what she has to offer, and try and figure out where to go from there. But I leave it in your hands.
That sounds good. Valentine will stare off for a second, thinking about something, and then look back at her and be like, Were you surprised we didn't find his blade there?
A little. Magics like these can be beyond our realm of understanding, and these artifacts of centuries, they're controlled by more than just us. There are forces, unseen forces, you know as well as I and some of your compatriots here. Magic and the planes work in very odd ways. And truth be told, we do not know that someone had come before and taken it away before the crow had shown up, before we had arrived. It could very well just be some adventurer absconded with it, some force of nature, some force of magic. But I am, truthfully, a little unsure.
Maybe your patron has a way to track it.
I should assume she is akin to her.
Well, we have some news to share regardless.
Do you think she's keeping something from me?
She looks quizzically at you and says, like what? What would she have reason to keep from you?
Information.
Information.
Help.
I mean, surely information is being kept from you. Information is kept from all of us by beings who are perhaps not all-knowing, but ancient and knowledgeable and powerful. But she is not without fault. If she has not told us something, it is either to protect us or because she truly does not know.
Okay.
I have faith anyways that is true.
Insight check.
Go ahead.
If I can. Not to just call that. Oh, that's good. But I'm on Lavender's sheet. Insight is 16 on the dice plus 8 is 24.
She seems as truthful as you would imagine. She truly believes that she truly believes her faith in the queen is enough, and that if the queen was supposed to tell us something, or you were supposed to know something, you would know.
Okay. Then yeah, maybe we should just get back and see if your companion has returned from the plane of pandemonium too.
Hopefully.
How long have we been awake for, Kyle?
Awake?
Yeah, because there's no what time of day is it.
Yep. You guys are looking at about a half day in terms of how you feel, about 4 hours-ish. You started the day, went to St. Elise, went to Gale Eden, returned to St. Elise, came to Deep Winter, jogged across about a half hour over this river, and then spent about a half hour, 45 minutes now in investigation, scaring off the giants, and scrying. So you're looking at pushing into 4 hours. 3.5, 4 hours. But you still have plenty of day left. But yes, there is no day-night cycle, so it is kind of weird to tell. You don't feel like you've not been in a fight either. Like, you've not really done a whole lot beyond travel and walking around, and Valentine has lost a little bit through the ritual.
But like our stomach says it's lunchtime kind of thing.
Yeah, you feel like you've been awake long enough that, like a rest for food would make sense, but you don't feel like you're done for the day.
All right. Why don't we head back?
Seems like if you said they found what they were looking for, we can't.
Ooh, that's another thing I was going to ask. What's this woman's name again?
Dahlia.
Dahlia, you spoke of an icy beast that unfortunately killed your friend Tarathian. Mm-hmm. Could you tell Sio, something like that?
Yes, Cryonax. Your mention of these figures in the north and association with the Ring of Winter, I fear that we may yet be headed to this island where this Cryonax was elemental titan of ice. Long ago, it threatened an essential perpetual winter on the Fae, somehow crossing through the elemental chaos from planes beyond. It was our charge to protect the realm, and as I said, Trathian gave his life to protect it and to save us.
So what happened to this Cryonex?
He fell, and his form now lies an island in the waters not far off the coast of Everbloom and Deepwinter.
The whole island is the
When
body.
I say Titan, I mean Titan.
So maybe they're looking for whatever made him tick. They're mining a Titan. What? I'm just spitballing. What could they...
Or they're trying to resurrect him, let him find something that summons them, resurrects him, gets him back up.
Whatever the equivalent of a heart is.
We didn't truthfully investigate for a source of power. We assumed it was a living creature with, powers of the elemental chaos itself. Perhaps there is still power within.
Well, these are good clues to have. You could lead us to an answer of what we're about to face. So either way, let's head back.
Before we do, can you divine the location of the Dupkatha?
Oh, sure. I'll take a little moment.
You feel
He's behind you.
He is right around the corner of this tree, listening. You focus in, and this entire time you've had this ritual placed upon you, you felt this kind of very faint, like almost like a headache, essentially. Like you can feel this like faint pulse in your mind where the direction of this creature is. But as you focus in solely and listen to it and focus on its energies, you can feel still pulling north, though seemingly slowed in outpacing you. It seems to be coming to a final destination. It seems to be slowing down, but almost directly north, just a northwest from your position.
Yeah, he's not moving as quick as he was before, and he's about northwest from us right now.
She just kind of nods and looks away. Well, if you're ready, then we can return. But if it's not... I don't mean to step out of turn within your group, however. You seem to be having a bit of a crisis of faith, so to speak, in your patron, mine as well. I just wonder why.
Because of them.
Pointing at the wildcards?
Yeah, because she helped me be able to protect them, and now I can't use the abilities she granted me as well as I could before, which means if we go into any fight, I can't protect them. So it makes me scared. And I was thinking about how she did mention this Moonblade before. I mentioned something like when the time comes or something, or when you've proven yourself. I don't know. I thought the Feywild would just be so much more fun than this, and it's really, really getting me down.
Well, you seem to have come with or brought with far more misery than our realm normally provides. Truth be told, it is normally far more joyful. But this is the charge of protecting a realm such as these. You do not get to bask in its sun and sometimes must dabble in the shade.
Valentine, we could always just leave.
I just don't say anything to that. I acknowledge it.
That was surprisingly kind for Hondo. Let's all be fair.
I know, and I wasn't snippy back.
It came out with surprising kindness.
Dahlia just kind of looks to Hondo, and you can just see a little, like, not frown or anything, but just like you see her just drop just ever so slightly of just her realm is not what you had hoped it would be. But quickly enough, she kind of rouses and says, well, we need a tree large enough to pass through, so perhaps we take a quick jaunt over this way. And I should warn you, this will tap my energies for today, for travel in this way. I have other things I can do, but I will certainly not be as strong should we go to engage anything.
Well, what's the alternative? We have no way of sending messages, correct? Not something that would also receive a response.
I do not, but I
think we should head back.
Just wanted you to be as informed as possible.
I appreciate that.
I think this is a wise plan, to return and reassess. So
just means we're out our escape plan if things go sideways later this evening.
Unfortunately, but
we always got an escape plan.
As I say, I have other abilities. She kind of looks and holds her staff aloft a bit and just says, Nirvana here will not be able to pull us from harm. But she just starts heading towards a large tree nearby, a few minutes to walk, finds one that's large enough, looks towards all of you, and you see her trace this curved moon, kind of crystalline moon head of her staff along the bark of this, beneath the boughs of this like large hanging kind of willow tree, and a doorway opens and she strides forward where you can see through kind of faintly what looks very much like the court of Senelise.
I rush through.
As you guys all follow in Dahlia and Valentine's lead, let's see. Hondo, Gord, and Val, can you throw me perception checks?
Ooh, shit. What does this mean? It's just okay.
13.
19.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm going to bust out a 23.
Ooh, okay.
Actually, 22.
Okay.
That's
29.
46. Hondo and Valentine, Gord, you, as is your custom, you hang back in the back of the group and cross through last through this tree portal. But Val, as you were front and center, and Hondo following suit relatively quickly. As you guys cross through the threshold into Senelise in the now very familiar court of the Summer Queen, as the two of you push through just behind Dahlia, you see, coming in from like the side of the three thrones, these three stone thrones, you see slumped in the central throne the figure of Titania. She seems nearly fallen out of it, down on one knee, almost fallen forward, almost gasping for breath. And as you set your first kind of steps through the tree, you see her there, and for a brief moment she turns to and catches your eye, quickly flicks between Dahlia, Valentine, and Hondo, who seem to catch her, and her face seems to have lost its shine, and across its once like perfect face you see these spider webs of blue veins. Her eyes seem almost bloodshot and wild, but within the blink of an eye a swirl of magic mist and leaves enshroud her. And as the rest of you finish coming through, you all see this kind of swirl of leaves and mist as she blinks away from that moment. And stands before you all, picturesque and poised, tall, strong back, shoulders back, gossamer and glowing as ever. She quickly again looks to the two of you, just for a fraction of a second, catches your eyes, and then kind of sweepingly across your group says, "You've returned so quick. I hope with some news."
Yeah. I'll look at Hondo, just gauging if he saw that, and then keep talking. As you could expect with the wildcards, the plan quickly shifted as soon as something happened. We got wind that the Dubkatha was heading towards the gravesite of Tarathian. And we started to get nervous that maybe he was going after his Moonblade there or something, so we made the gut decision, instead of continuing into the Unseelie court, we just beelined it there. Whoosh, and did a little reconnaissance. Didn't catch a glimpse of him, but it seems like he left to go somewhere else and left a bunch of frost giants. They were searching for something, searching for, we assume, his gravesite, and we managed to lure them away and find his gravesite. Oh, actually, now that you think of it, he did find the grave, because unfortunately Tarathian's body was frozen solid and there was a big impact on it. I don't know if he stomped on it or punched it or something, but it seemed like perhaps he didn't find what he was looking for.
Unduly cruel to destroy him, but like that. But his energies will have passed on to Aetherius, so at least in that we can be assured that though his earthly form was destroyed, he still lives on. In the time you've departed and returned, I also have received a letter from Aurelia. I could share that with you.
Please, we have something else to share too that I just remembered. It's vitally important, but if you want to go first.
Please, after you, Valentine.
Just bearing the lead. We also did a little scrying, and it led us north where the frost giants are, the Arl. Fuck, I'm always gonna fuck this up.
Jarl.
Jarl. Oh, Valentine. They were looking for something in the ice there, and I think they found it. And it might have been on the island where where he made the island. And as well, there was a face from our past, an enemy, a mind flayer, who was united with my father for, I can only assume, dubious reasons. But he was there, he was happy, and I don't think any of it's good.
That is not good news. I know not their purpose with Cryonax's form, but with the Ring of Winter, the Frost Giants, the Crow himself, it cannot be, well, it certainly cannot be good. I wish I knew more. I feel lost in my own realm.
Well, what does this letter say?
Right. She turns and kind of flicks her fingers a little bit, and you see on the opposite side of the court a figure wicked fast, a blur of kind of purple and black. This small figure looks elven in nature, but blackish purple skin, silver eyes, and long, like straight pointed back silver hair, wearing kind of clothes of blue, like well-to-do looking clothes, and these kind of very soft looking leather boots. He kind of looks at you all in just like these jittery quick moments, holds up a letter, passes it to Titania, and she accepts it and looks down at him and says, "You may go." And in a flash, he is zipped away like the wind.
I'll turn to Dahlia, be like, was that the Queen of the Unseelie Courts, like right-hand guy, or was that just a messenger?
That was just a quickling. They're our typical messengers of our realm.
Okay, cool.
Incredibly fast. You will know Galen Revere if you see him. Let's hope we do not. Titania flips open this letter, and she kind of holds it aloft and asks, would you wish to read it?
Of course, yep.
She passes you the letter, and I will message you the letter.
I pass it to Gord.
It's in the D&D chat.
Oh, shit. Wait, I'm going to read it on my phone so I can face camera. Hondo, don't read it. Lady Titania. The Duke Katha's release from the dreaded end of Pandemonium was unpredicted by any within this court. His sentence was not to be reviewed for another century and a half. This order would not have been handed down by any who swear fealty to the Unseelie or the realm of Deep Winter. On your word, my lord of the Dark Hunt sought out signs of his passing out of the Duke Katha and any of his party. By his expertise, the crow has made landfall on the frigid Isle of Cryonax. With him, a dozen frost giants and a companion of aberrative nature. Probably the Mind Flayer. They pass unimpeded by the elements and with swift purpose. With them they carry weaponry and provisions, as well as mining and camping equipment suitable for a herd this size. We provided you this information, however, in the pursuit of justice, we recuse ourselves from the hunt of the accused and from his subsequent punishment. Your power, and those of your court, will surely be enough to bring swift justice to him. A chance for retribution. Aurelia, Queen of the Unseelie Fae.
Does that like last half of that sound like
a little like
a little passive aggressive?
Maybe just
a little like how like how super rich people talk to each other. I'm sure you can handle it.
That's what you're so like wealthy,
but I don't know.
You watch Titania's kind of, as I say, like this picturesque form kind of shimmer, and you feel as you're kind of standing within the area, it suddenly grow incredibly warm, like a deep heat of a desert beating sun bearing down upon you. You see her eyes kind of shift and glow almost golden and hot. She kind of looks and snatches the note from you. She kind of reads it over and just kind of with a scowl just burns it to ash.
What part of Val reading it does it seem like she started getting mad at?
Make an insight check.
Nice. That's a good call.
25. Not high enough, probably.
She's kind of lost a bit of her edge of hiding her emotion here. And you see, as she kind of flicks, as Valentine read it aloud, you felt the first kind of wave of this heat. You then see, as she reads it again, the latter portion, the passing of the buck, so to speak.
The passive-aggressive bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, it obviously angers her. I would hope for better for my sister, but they wished only to pass the buck, or perhaps she would grow more powerful with us failing. Why help?
Well, a dozen frost giants, one mind flayer, my evil uncle, the Duke Katha, his darklings potentially, and then the potential resurrection of a titan of elemental ice. That's about one each for all of us, so that's pretty even.
You see Titania just like not meeting your gaze and just kind of looking off over the edge of the island, just kind of, you see the gears kind of spinning, and she seems suddenly kind of wrathful and angry. The sky above you, though still in this kind of golden hour dusk, you see clouds begin to slowly kind of form and shift, and a rumble of thunder. A darkness seems to kind of just overtake your area.
Any word from Nova?
He should be returning in a few hours.
Well, what's our play here? We know they found whatever the fuck they were looking for on that island. We don't know what that is. Are there any... Oh, I don't even know. We left the best library I've seen in a long time in terms of research.
Why did we feel like the Revenant Vow were connected here? There was some hint of the Dubkatha in the Revenant Vow.
I'm pretty sure it was just the Jarl, right? And we just had a suspicion that why he would be doing this. Is it a distraction? I'm not sold on it. But we don't have motivation for the Frost Giants. We have a believable motivation for just about everybody else. We have books. We haven't looked at our books. I wonder if they have anything. I mean, mine wouldn't, but didn't Lavender get one?
Yes, I did.
It's about specifically about Ares? I don't remember what she asked for.
I think she got one on the Feywild, as I recall.
Lavender, where did I put that? Lavender took a book about just the realms of the Fey. It was just like a generic, generic Feywild kind of realms book. Hondo has a book about the Queen of Air and Darkness and the realm of Deep Winter. Mary has a book of the like a journal, an Age of Heroes of 424 to 427.
Yeah, mine won't be useful right now.
And Alana has a book of short stories and tall tales, one of which at least seemingly to do with Ragnar Stormborn.
So we either run in blind to a force that seems ridiculous, or we spend a couple hours potentially researching, trying to think of another plan, gathering forces potentially, and waiting for what's-his-face to come back.
Nova? I think that's the smarter play.
Yeah. I hate the idea of leaving them with a few extra hours on their side, but I don't see how going in there without a plan makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'll
just take a couple steps towards her. Is she still looking real brooding?
Oh yeah.
How much taller is she than I am?
She's about 10, 11 feet tall.
Okay. I'll just try and just reach out and put a hand on her arm.
Reflexively, she just bats your hand away. And you see as she kind of turns, this rage on her face. Just hard lines, scowled mouth. Almost, if her eyes could be inflamed, they would be. And you see she smacks your hand away, and it stings. It hurts.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
And you pull back, and she immediately withdraws and takes a step back, and you see the storm above kind of dissipate ever so slightly, and the rage and the flame around her seem to douse ever so slightly. I'm sorry, Valentine.
Okay.
Forces around seem to be... Every force seems to be working against me here. For the first time in eons, I feel a loosening of the grip of my realm. My allies seem distant. I have lost 2 of my immediate court as short a time as ever. I was not strong enough to protect you. I fear I will not be strong enough to protect any of you.
Then let's protect each other.
How?
We rally. We need to pull everyone we can in on this. I've been thinking. We've all been just separated so much in these kind of fights, while our enemies band together and work together to achieve evil deeds. We've just been stumbling around, just us, a little band, trying to gather people together and wandering into fight after fight. Any allies you have, we need to rally.
My only
Pull them apart instead of us.
Pull them apart, you mean?
Yes. Separate them. If we go into a den of wolves, you take a few out of the pack first. Distract some. Make it a little more manageable.
Well, that would still mean you and yours heading into the den. At least to the cusp of it. I can provide you, of course, Dahlia and Nova. Perhaps we can convince Aurelia, or perhaps implore Galen to our side. With Sylvanas gone, Trathian been gone so many years, I have few too powerful enough to rally. I will not send innocents into this fight. I have many in my realm. We could pull together a force unseen in centuries, but there would be much death of life that needn't die.
Don't necessarily need a force to cause some really, really stupid giants to leave and get a little distracted. Maybe you just need the threat of an attack. Maybe you just need a really, really good image.
Maybe we research, try and come up with a plan, wait for Nova to come back, see if he has any other information we can use to make a better plan.
I can withdraw Nova if you need him. I'm just running out of options.
Give him an hour. See if he can find anything else. Vita said he was due back in a few hours anyway.
I had hoped.
Let's see how far we get before we do any rash decisions in terms of looking into more things. I don't have any other ways to look into anything else other than these books. I'm open to suggestions, looking around to the rest of the group.
She kind of looks down towards Valentine and says, "There is one who can provide answers. You will not like it, but it is an option."
I love an option I don't like.
If you need answers in the Fae, there is one who knows most anything. She has many answers. She's lived many lives. And what knowledge she possesses can take a grave toll. She's known as Baba Yaga, mother of witches, seer of untold things. It is a last resort, If you have no answers for me within an hour, perhaps she may be of use.
What's her title? Something of witches?
Mother of witches.
Great. Cool.
Seer of untold things. Grandmother to hags. Abound.
Great. That's positive.
I know of this woman. I've heard good things.
That's never a good sign.
That makes me more scared. I'll
if there's a specific question we need answered, potentially. Right now we don't even know what to ask.
I always like meeting a relative. It's gone well in the past.
I should hope she is not a relative of yours.
Listen, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna figure this out. I don't know what he did to you, to our connection, when Heartbreaker broke, but I saw it. I saw a vision of it, and I'll look back to where she was standing when Hondo and I first walked in, and then just kind of look back at her. But we're gonna figure it out.
Make a persuasion check.
30.
Ooh, Jesus. All right.
Yep.
Her hard exterior softens once more. She places a hand to the side of your face and just kind of sweeps back your hair. I trust in you, my heartbreaker. You still carry my light even without the blade.
Pat the little pouch of Heartbreaker.
She looks over to Dahlia and says, I will need you, and I will need Nova. Show him the way. She kind of just loses, and Dahlia just nods, keeps her head down.
I'll look at Dahlia and be like, is there a place up here we can just crash, or
Typically we go
you
down.
want us to go back? You want us to go back down? It's just so many fucking stairs.
We just have to go down the one.
Oh, okay, great.
Titania just kind of steps off away from your group and just kind of looks out over the edge of the court off towards the west. And just kind of stands there.
I'll kind of just bow my head and then grab Hondo and tug him back by the tunic and work our way out of there.
Okay. What's the plan?
Oh, Allie just posted a very scary Baba Yaga gif in our thread. Don't like this chick.
You should look into Lavender's book.
So Lav has a book, on the places in the Feywild. So maybe if we try and have her focus on the Cryonax Island, if that's the thing.
Sure.
And then Hondo has one too. I'm going to run to the bathroom, but I will be back.
And if Lav can take a short rest, she can heal up a bit because she and Fern got hurt in that fight.
So I would say to go through any of your books will take an hour at least to get some information. So I would consider it part of a short rest.
Perfect.
So Lav can heal and still manage to learn something, hopefully. But anyone who's going to try and read a book and learn something in an hour has to make... in this case, I think...
I look at. Is it Dahlia? Is that her name?
Yep.
You ask her. Use that.
I be like, I give her my book and be like, read it to me.
That's your move?
I don't want to read it. You read it to me.
She accepts it and then kind of looks to someone nearby, looks to Allie, and just can he not read?
Oh, I can read.
Oh, you just...
I just don't want to.
I see. Okay. Sure. She just flips open and sits down beside you. So in that case, you don't have to make a roll. But when Scott gets back...
I take it over knowledge.
Listening to that weird misogyny that just happened.
can you get Lavender to make an investigation check?
Yep.
Allie and Mary, do you guys want to try and read your books? Or are you going to do something else over the short rest?
Yeah, I can read for sure.
Then make an investigation check.
I've got 19.
Ooh, okay.
15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. All of you get to listen to Dahlia read this journal book about the Queen of Air and Darkness in the realm of Deepwinter, as she reads it aloud to Hondo by request. She kind of sets her staff across her lap and holds the book open, and the tip of the moon kind of just provides a little bit of light that illuminates the space, though it's still golden hour, not necessarily needed, but a little bit of atmosphere. And you learn that the Queen of Air and Darkness's name is Aurelia, which you did already know technically. You learn she is said to be Titania's sister, and that they are bound as rulers in unity. Should one fall, the other grows weaker. Should one grow more powerful, the other grows in kind. It is said that she has no physical form, that her presence is merely felt in the unsealed court. If magic was used to see her, she does, however, appear as a beautiful but terrible female fairy with angular features, white bone skin, black eyes, and long black hair. She rules over the unsealed court from her throne in Sildur, beyond the Shiverpine Woods, at the base of the Ice-Crowned Peaks. You learn that the unsealed court itself is a mirror opposite of the sealy court. Where the latter is a place of laughter and friendship, the unsealy is a place of hatred, enslavement, and death.
What?
The court itself is located in the immense tower of black stone that is Sildur, centered around a singular mountainous stalagmite upon which the queen's black onyx throne stands in the shape of a great drake. A black diamond itself resting upon the throne.
Thank God we didn't go there. Hondo would be all over that shit, get us all killed.
That's all you learn within the hour of her reading this book. However, as Allie and Lav read through their respective books.
Is that what I was rolling an investigation check for? I rolled it, but I put my headphone in and just missed what the check was for.
It was just an optional. If you wanted to read the book you found, this is the chance to get a short rest in to do so. You don't have to. You missed the part where the option was there.
Oh.
You want to read your book, you can.
I mean, I have nothing better to do, so.
Good. What'd you roll?
I rolled a 29.
Okay.
So Lavender goes through, and she essentially is given just the realms of the Feywild. It's just kind of a notations of the locations around the Fey, and it's broken up into the 4 realms: the realm of High Sun, the Fading Realm, the realm of Deepwinter, and the realm of Everbloom. Which would she focus on?
I think the realm of Deepwinter.
Okay. Within then is a kind of more a closer look, like a quickly drawn map of a closer snapshot of the realm. And flipping through, she sees where the Sildur, the throne of air and darkness, sits. She sees the Shiverpine Wood around this kind of section of the map. Sees what looks like a village of some sort named Duskvale. To the north, at the base of the mountain, there is the Heartsbane Caverns, known as Angoth, and it's noted as a Fey crossing that crosses through to the north wind of Vesaria, along the northern coast, just beyond Gauntlgrim. There is a notation of Dendra Fell, it's a northern Feydark den that is on the easternmost kind of tip of the Ice Crown Peaks. There is kind of to the south another village known as Ravenstar. The Ice Crown Peaks themselves kind of wrap around the entirety of the exterior of the realm. There is a notation of the island of Cryonax Falls, not necessarily directly of Deepwinter, but there is notation of the great elemental titan who fell in battle with Tarathian, and he is mentioned by name, and who created an island upon its death of perpetual ice. Then lastly, there is the river you crossed, known as the Queen's Divide, and there is a tower known as Snowdrop Spire that is situated on the western kind of coast of the realm. But in the hour, she can kind of just quickly get an idea of those names and places, and a quick rundown of what they are, but not a ton, with only within an hour. Though she rolled well.
And can she roll hit dice?
Yeah.
All right, I just did that in anticipation you'd say that. So she burned 5, but she's back up.
Okay. Alana, you rolled a 15. You can see there are actually quite a few books short stories within this kind of section of Tall Tales, and you kind of flip through, just trying to find something that would spark something about Ragnar Stormborn, or something that what caught your eye of this in the first place. And you flip through and you see there's several different short stories, a handful of different languages, many you do not understand. Though the few in common, you flip through, you see one called The King of Sand. You flip forward again a little bit further and you see The Storm Giant's Tide. However, about 3/4 of the way into the book, one of only a handful of stories in common, you see a story called The Storm and the Flame. And over your short rest, you read this story.
It sounds sexy, by the way. I'm excited.
You find the tale of a young, rebellious, and powerful dwarven warrior named Ragnar Stormborn, and the mysterious yet charming halfling Castiel. The two met in battle for the fate of the world and fell deeply in love. Their destinies seemed intertwined by fate itself, and their love for one another was instantaneous and furious. The pair sought adventure, exhilaration in all aspects of life, traveling the plains, the seas, and the skies together. However, this tale is not one of adventure, but of sorrow. The pair of heroes found themselves in the city of Brass, on the elemental plane of fire. Castiel was one of an order known as the House of the Flaming Sphere, a sect of arcane practitioners who sought to expand the realm's understanding of the arcane and usher in a new age of arcana. The house asked its esteemed champion and her mate to retrieve a powerful relic for them, something that would be a terror in the hands of evil, and could prove to save millions of lives if it was in theirs. The pair, of course, agreed and traversed the realms once more in pursuit of their charge, and they did indeed find it on their home plane of Vesaria. At the summit of storms, the two adventurers plunged into the depths of a volcano and returned with their prize, the egg of a phoenix. Returning to the House of the Flaming Sphere, the researchers and practitioners pored over it, and Castiel, in kind, cared for this egg like a mother. Under their guidance, it hatched. Born unto their order, the first phoenix, in over a century, breathed its first breath. Castiel and Ragnar cared for the phoenix like a child of their own, and it looked to them as its parents. Unfortunately, the studies of the arcane are not always without cost, and the minds of those on the verge of a breakthrough can be heartless in their pursuit. Late one evening, Ragnar awoke to the sounds of screeching and the heat of an intense fire. The House of the Flaming Sphere was engulfed in flame, and Castiel was nowhere to be found. Ragnar grabbed his gear and charged through the fire to the room the phoenix was kept. Bursting through, he found the source of the pain. The Order had pushed their discovery too far, and to achieve their desires, it meant death for the young phoenix, a toll Castiel would not have. She fought her order, and with Ragnar by her side, they were formidable opponents. But the young phoenix was not. In the frenzy, the phoenix was felled by the order. And in that moment, Castiel embraced its dying form, and from it came an eruption of flame and ash. The explosion rippled out across her mantle, and with the two embraced forms, they became the epicenter of immense power. Ragnar watched in horror as the two were engulfed in flame, and the entire house erupted from their form. Powerful shockwaves scattering brick and stone and bent metal in all directions as fire and force flared from their forms, and as they became intertwined, a singular force of energy and life. Ragnar fought against the waves of pain and force, trying to get close to pull Cass free, and through the fire he met her eyes, her form engulfed in flame, yet tears pouring down her cheeks. The mantle across her flared as flame erupted from within, and she returned his gaze, mouthing goodbye. With a thrust of force, the energy spun inward and then erupted one last time. The order lay dead around Ragnar, pulling himself from the wreckage, and fought back to this space where Cass had lain, but found nothing but ash. Ragnar returned home to Vesaria, heartbroken and alone. He came to Storm Summit and cast her ashes of his beloved within its fiery depths, and lived out his days alone. You note, too, as the story finishes, you see a few spots of tear-stained kind of on the parchment as you kind of turn the page. You see a picture of these two figures, similar to that you saw in the painting. Ragnar and Castiel, both adorned in their powerful relics, standing at the lip of a volcano with smoke rising behind them, their foreheads dipped to touch one another, eyes closed, but wide smiles across their faces. And just a signature, a sign of Sylvanas' name at the bottom. That's all you find.
Valentine just
Holy.
looks at Mary, tries to gauge if she was emotionally affected like he was by that.
That's mostly just the pregnant lady. Fuck you, Kyle. I
That was a
didn't
great
realize
story,
she was,
by the way.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
realize she was reading it out loud, but no, she would be obviously.
Yeah, I'd be ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew, that was good. I need water.
Mary, would Mary have been distracted enough with this story to push through her reading?
I don't know.
You rolled a very high investigation.
I did. Yeah, I'll still see how far I can get.
Okay. So pushing past both Dahlia reading and then Alana taking turn, you continue delving into a relatively kind of thick journal. It's relatively small but dense.
Yeah, I'm not planning to get super deep into this at this point.
No. And you kind of make your way through, and you catch kind of early on the details of a vision that struck in the midst of a solar eclipse as it wanes on the last day of high sun on the 27th of Mirren in 424. In the vision, Sylvanas saw realms shatter and a terrible force hurtling through space and time. He saw the realms of the upper and lower planes in turmoil, and a funnel of power, a whirlpool of force, drawing together a maelstrom of sand, rock, and death. At its precipice stood a monstrous creature, powerful and wicked, demonic in nature, but tortured and transformed by a realm alien to his own. Beneath this detailed vision, he writes in a shaky hand, "Something comes. The eye that sees all, the one who watches, has found her champion. When the planes shatter, the sky will darken, the gods lock away, and an age of chaos will be upon us." The vision kind of shakes you for a moment. And you flip the pages forward, knowing the general idea of the path of history. And you make your way through the first of Morden, and you see Sylvanas detailing that others have had visions as he had, and others have answered the same perilous call, and he makes note that he sets off for the Platinum Sanctuary. 21 days later, he describes the Platinum Sanctuary in wondrous imagery. Though he describes in less wonderful imagery the fellows who received his call. He had hoped for a force of hundreds, yet the gods seemed to have only handed a handful to do their bidding. He makes note, though, saying the Wild Mother would not send a rabbit to combat a wolf. He says, I must have faith the gods have chosen wisely, lest we all fall. You read forward, flipping past pages into a month or two beyond, more months, into the ages of 425, the 12th of Elmelra. He writes, the vision struck once more, the maelstrom in the center of the realm, the gods' eyes cast aside, the force of chaos who plants this wicked seed comes, but how soon? I feel in my heart the tendrils of doubt and fear plague not only mine in our own humble few. What strength do less than a dozen have against the storms of the realms beyond? He details in the morning that they hope they'll have a clearer plan. Perhaps these items that are to be crafted and retrieved will serve them well, though he still fears a few blades and pieces of armor will stem the coming storm. You continue reading, flipping through, and you get to the 17th of Zenharth of the same year. You find, he writes, a new piece added to the puzzle of this perilous portent, a name, Tharizdun. With it, we decipher the origins of the coming fray. Tharizdun, this Oberith of the Abyss, at war with the demon lords, sought out further power and an edge in his war. Seeking answers beyond his realm, and answers sought him in kind. Something from beyond our realm, this one who watches, came to him and gave Tharizdun the strength to combat the demons, the devils, and all the gods above. We must separate him from this power, and with these gifts bestowed upon us, we delve into the abyss itself. Here we may yet kill the beast and stop this before it even happens. He writes, may the Wild Mother, the Summer Queen, and the heroes of the realm guide my hand, my mind, my heart, and my soul unto victory. You see, there's quite a bit left to read as the hour mark hits.
You read that aloud, or is that just in your head? I guess if Brawley's reading, it's probably in your head.
Well, it's funny, one of those things where if we're all reading at the same time during the same area, I'll summarize it when I'm done.
That's another good tale right there. That's good shit.
You know, you're at the precipice of more, and you can see there's like a good chunk left to be read.
You just finished Goblet, but there's still Order,
the bulk,
Half-Blood.
The bulk is still kicking there.
Sorry, when you say that there's more in this specific section, or I finish a chapter?
It's not so much a chapter, it's more of a journal. So it's just stream of consciousness. There's no breaks in chapters. However, you guys, your characters would understand the timing of things and the months. You would know them as we know our months, but you guys don't necessarily know the months that I know.
Yeah.
This last passage you read was the 17th of Zenharth in 425. Zenharth being our December, essentially. The break with Tharizdun, the reckoning, happened in 426. So you know that at least there are a couple of weeks or months into 426 where the actual reckoning is upon them. And you know Sylvanas made it through, so you can intone that there is more to know.
Okay. Well, that doesn't have to
the
be
one who watches.
The one who watches. That's what did we name him? What did you call him?
Ian. So, pre-stream, when we were in the Abyss, we encountered just before this ancient evil lich who killed one of our own. Shouts to Neavir. Cord, where were you during that fight, by the way? We encountered a dude with a huge eye, and it seemed like
and a bunch of tiny eyes. Made of slime.
What was that guy's name again?
I don't know. We just named him Ian. I think he's I have no name. So you're okay, I'll name you Ian.
But he seemed to be in line with the one who watches. And remember, we went into the Lich. What's that fucking Lich's name? Curse's name. Car-fucking-Val.
Yeah.
In Carval's lair, there was a huge eye watching the whole fight above us.
You were within like a cavity of a flesh and eye-ridden beast.
Oh, God. Guys, we can't go back to the Abyss. Let's find some other champions. If that comes to it, we'll hire some other people. Oh, God, I fucking hated the Abyss.
Oh, here. Okay, I found it.
Trying, I can't find it.
Here,
The
someone
Hexers, or the Hexies, whatever our critter equivalent's going to be, they really need to make a wiki for us.
Please don't. I don't keep track of my own shit. It's gonna
None of it will be accurate.
It's gonna be
Call
so
us.
off.
Call us on the years. DM
The amount of times you and I try to go over your calendar and be like, wait, what did we do at this point?
At mention Hondo, anytime you think something's inappropriate, let him know. He's at Hondo the Blue on Twitter.
Figure descends from ceiling. There's an eye that's 60 feet wide. This was in Carval's chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Which you also recall.
I just have creepy figure in quotations. You come with divine purpose. Something about the one who watches from the stars.
And a she.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great.
We had some good shit talk against him, and then we threw down.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah, and we
That was a good
saw it said so after it was telling us all this. So it respected Carval and said they share a desire for power. They speak of visions we had. Some are past and future, and we saw images of flashes of our lives. Each of us did. We saw war, a sky of flame, and the eyes tell us their intention. Then mentions who watches from the stars and a she.
Oh, that's right. We saw, like, depending on we rolled, and then, like, if we rolled like trash, we
had
saw
that vision.
bad shit.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out what happened to Gord when he didn't come in that fight? Was that something that Ian did, or is that an Orcus thing?
I don't think
you
we
as
know.
as players or
As
your
players,
characters?
as Val. As Val.
I don't believe Gord ever explained. I mean, it's very typical Gord to not explain what happened.
Classic.
I mean, Brock, it's entirely up to you. I legit just don't recall, like, fucking a half a year ago, probably more.
I probably
No
would
more.
have written it down.
I'm near the page.
Do you think you would have explained to them what you saw on your side when they went into this fight, or been vague?
I think he just told us. I think he just said, "Oh, like, no, you guys disappeared. I don't know what happened. You guys just disappeared, and then you came back."
Vague.
And then he looked like shit,
Yeah.
which we all noticed
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
looked like shit. And I think I knew he was lying.
He got hurt in that little trip he took.
After Brawley's story, I'll lean towards Gord and be like, wow, it's a pretty sad story, eh? And I'll just tap his little helmet.
Make sure he's not napping.
Did you hear the story about the storm and the flame, Gord?
I did.
What did you think about it? Do you think it's like a tragic tale of love?
Sounds like life to me.
That it's just gonna end in fire and ash?
Pretty much.
All right, that feels good. I'll scooch on over to Hondo. Hey, pal. Why did you make her read to you? I was outside, and when I came back in, she was just reading to you.
I didn't feel like going through it. It's a lot of reading. I thought, if she reads it, I'll still get the info. She'll get the info. It's a win-win.
Okay. Do you want me to Do you want me to teach you how to read better? Is that what it is?
No, look, I'm a captain, okay? I know how to read.
Well, I mean, you look at pictures on a
I
map.
want to read right now.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Cut stuff up and kill people, you know?
I think we're real close to that part.
Too slow for me.
All right. So should we go check on Titania and see if Nova's back? Let's do it then.
Yeah.
Without too much difficulty, you make your way back up to the court of the Summer Queen. As you do, she immediately looks to your side and says, "What have you decided? What have you learned?"
Well, we didn't really learn anything that new about the situation. We learned a little more about the unseelie court. We learned a little more about potentially what could be again pulling the strings of this entire thing.
What do you think is pulling the strings?
Have you ever heard the words, "the one who watches"?
No. I can't say I have.
Do you remember several years ago, centuries ago, just before the reckoning, and how the planes, I don't know if they were shattered or how they felt?
Of course I remember the reckoning. It was a tragic time, but truthfully, I had no play in its protection or its destruction. The aftershock, so to speak, of the reckoning wreaked havoc within the Fae, and I believe within the Shadowfell as echoes of Vesaria, of the material plane. I recall, and I know, of course, of Tharosdun, of the Chained Oblivion, of the champions who slayed him, and champions of the gods beyond. But I know not of who you speak and what this has to do with today.
I mean,
So it
admittedly, it might not have anything to do with today.
More speculation, then.
Seems we have a lot of that right now.
Have you learned anything? I say, like, kicking the dirt, the ground.
She kind of looks down at you and says, "I was waiting for my champion to provide answers. Nova has yet to return, but he will. I can pull him back when you're ready, as I said."
Let's pull him back.
She, with a swift move of her hand, you hear first before you see this swirl of like smoke and wind and dust all at once in this big kind of circular portal. You hear the shrieking sound of horrid wind just howling through rock and crag, and pulled through you see the armor-adorned figure of Nova, his hair windswept in his face, kind of covered in like this gray-brown dust and sand. He kind of wipes himself free and kind of moves free this kind of like tunic handkerchief that he had over his mouth and nose, and pulls it down and just kind of shakes his armor and self free of a pound of sand. And he throws down like a burlap bag on the ground between Titania and your group, and you can see there is some bloody stains within. And he says, "It would seem some of the guards watching over the Jubkartha have been dealt with by some aberrative force. I had intended to learn more and question some others. However, obviously something is you need me here for something?
I'll move up to the little burlap thing and unclick Thorn and just try and peel some of this gross shit back to see what's inside.
As you kind of begin to lift, Nova steps forward and says, no worries, they are dead. And he reaches down and kind of pulls the burlap up and kind of upends it, and you see a splatter of blood, and you see 2 brains fall to the ground. You see just pink, fleshy brain, as you would imagine a brain. However, each of these brains, you see a small circular mouth at the base, just with just sharp, jagged teeth in a circle, and what look like 6, although some are broken, you can see the base of 6 kind of crab-like legs that seem to just break out from the brain stem itself, and would, if these things were alive, pull them along. You can see the legs are now kind of curled in like a spider when you kill it over top, and you can see slash marks and some scorch marks across both of them. It says, to my knowledge, these are known as Intellect Devourers. They take over the minds of those they attempt to eat the brain of and replace the mind of the figure. It would seem something has set these on the guards and set free the Duke Cartha. Though I know not a name, a person, just the purpose and the how they managed to achieve it. I did not expect, truth be told, aberrations within this. You had spoken of this devil cult of the 9 hells. I had perhaps expected fiendish nature, not this alien, unnatural thing.
Yeah, I think we know who did this. We caught wind of a mind flayer who's helping the Duke Katha, and that mind flayer has a relationship with the Duke Katha's brother.
Interesting.
Do you think, you speak of these creatures, I don't know much about mind flayers, but alien, aberration, do we know anything about where they come from, if they worship, I don't know, a god that has a bunch of eyes, the one who watches?
No. Typically, he kind of looks around just to see if anyone else is going to take charge. He seems like almost uncomfortable, speaking, but he's like, no, typically, mind flayers and these intellect devourers are one of a kind. They serve an elder brain, a singular telepathic entity of a literal mind that gives them purpose. However, their purpose is not typically this far from where the elder brain resides. For them to be plane hopping as they are, to have influence here in your realm and in Pandemonium, part of me would say this is not atypical of these creatures. Perhaps they are working with others, as your mind flayer you speak of is working with others. This Duke Katha is working with others.
None of them typically do.
Not typically.
So what the fuck is drawing all these weirdos together to do this? Ugh.
I'm not sure.
So...
Yeah, well, how do we have less answers than we did this morning?
So Azrael dies. My pops. His right-hand man, the Mind Flayer, disappears. Seems like unlocks the Duke Katha, my uncle, from this Pandemonium plane. They're back here. Mind Flayers aligning with Frost Giants, the same Frost Giants who aligned with the Revenant Vow to try and fuck over and break some seals on our plane. Feels like there's things in motion here, there's power up for grabs. People are working towards at least similar goals. I kind of liked Mary's plan of we could go up there, us champions, this little lot here, and start picking off some of these assholes.
You see Nova draw his sword. Again, you see this kind of glimmering golden hilt and this crystalline blade with a bed of gold within, and just kind of spins it around and says, I'm always ready for a fight.
I just look at Thorn and then just click it back. Same.
Dahlia steps forward once more and just says, as I had said before, my Nirvana will be short of power, but I think we are enough to take on a few of these giants at least.
The question then becomes, how do we do this without tipping our hand and potentially speeding up whatever the fuck they're working on?
They were happy they'd found it.
That's what I mean. If maybe they'll take their time with it if they think there's not a pressure. Who knows? I don't fucking know. We can't look at him again until tomorrow.
I think this leads back to the material plane. I do think the Dubkatha is taking revenge on you, Titania. He wants to make it hurt. He's hurting both of us. But I think this play ends in the material plane. In our research, we did learn that there's a Fey crossing there at the Heartsbane Cavern.
Yes, of course. That is likely where they cross through, as you had said previously. If I remember correctly, it would lead towards the Gauntlgrim range, which would make sense if these frost giants reside within there. Of course, it would make sense for it to ultimately lead back to the material plane, but it seems to have become personal. You're right. The Dubkatha has come to strike at me for obvious reasons. I've imprisoned him, I've taken many years of his, and I've burned him. He is vengeful, wicked, wise. But why focus on you? Why? I mean, besides being family, perhaps that there's more to that. Hags are not necessarily known for being familial, but perhaps the Sons of Shadow are more so.
Azrael was pretty fucking insistent on family.
Yeah, he was. As well, they mentioned a third Shadow Son. There was 3 brothers, so there could be another just uncle of mine floating around there, causing... Who knows if he's the one pulling all the strings or what.
There's another chance for another connection there, wherever he may be.
We could talk to my grandma. Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga, yeah. She could give you an idea of who your other uncle is, too.
As I said, she has many answers, though. Just recall, they can come with a toll.
What does that mean?
It means that information is only freely given, is never freely given, pardon me. It is only acquired through a deal of some sort.
Oh, fuck, I don't like that.
Last time we made a deal, look at Hondo. It did not go well.
Got so many things in our bag of holding we can offer.
We're gonna fucking barter a gambler's blade for some information.
I will make a note, though, Valentine. You know that this Baba Yaga is not truly related to you, correct?
I'm not sure. I just was half joking that she's a hag. I don't know if there's some sort of distant relation between all of us.
She is most certainly a hag, as the mother of all hags, and in a far distant way perhaps does share bloodline with you in some odd way. However, you went through a ritual of blood. If you had bloodline relation, it would have pointed in her direction.
That's true. It also would have pointed if my third uncle was here. My other uncle.
You would
That's a
have.
good point.
It would be taking you in many different directions. It seems, as far as I'm aware, from what you have said, only a singular source.
At least here. It hurts me to have it. Like, it is super valuable to know where he is, but it's made me weaker. My literal blood's in here.
It is an unfortunate side effect of the knowledge. Perhaps, I mean, if you have no further need of it, you know where he is. But if he were to move... But there's still so many unanswered questions. Again, I feel lost within my own realm. What could they be doing with Cryonox?
How can we find out?
Go there? Where would the Baba Yaga be?
There's a forest on the edges of Everbloom and High Sun. She has no fixed home, but she resides within this forest. She can be found, located by myself. I can send you to her. I just wish to caution you again, though. This is a last resort, but we are just running short of options and time.
I don't like it. Not even if we don't have a specific thing that we absolutely know we need the answer to. Again, we don't even know what questions to ask. We shouldn't be sacrificing fucking anything knowing what we're going into. No offense, Val, but we're already down a bit.
No, I totally understand. Perhaps, as my bloodthirsty friend Hondo indicated, our best bet is to go up north a bit. Don't go for the full fight. But see if we can learn from reconnaissance or pick off one of these frost giants. This is such a tiny, slimmest of chance. But I did really like what Mary said. What if we can split their forces a bit? The frost giants, the Jarl, his sons were killed because of their work for the Revenant Vow. There might be some sort of angle we can work there if, God forbid, we have a chance to talk to him.
It's actually a good point. We were saying that maybe they were working with the Vow, but maybe he's fucking pissed. Maybe it's just... Maybe they're not very smart. Maybe they're literally just the muscle here. They were convinced somehow, some kind of motive, just to fucking help, because they needed someone who could withstand ice to beat the shit out of the dead Titan to get whatever they wanted. And to make sure we don't get there first.
We can assume he's likely the smartest of them, but I agree with you.
We still don't have an ideal plan. We
see what they're digging for, see if we can get some wind there. We also could try and guilt the Unseelie court into coming to do this. From Lav's book, that sounded like a real hoot to go to the land of enslavement and hatred. But look what she wrote in the letter. She's boasting. She said she doesn't want to get involved in this fight, but we know that balance is important to the Feywild.
That could be used.
So here's, I think, the big decision. Do we go now? Or do we wait so that Dahlia can rest? I mean, can we even get up north without your ability?
Titania says, I can still send you as far as the edges of Everbloom or the far reaches of the Deep Winter, but there are no ways for either of us to get you to the Isle of Cryonax. There are no trees. There's not pure ice and snow. There will be some travel needed.
nowhere to hide on the way to get there either. We're going to be going in very exposed.
This is such a low priority, but it could be advantageous request. I'll reach in the bag of holding and take out those 2 brooms we got from the hags. Can anyone here identify these, tell us how they work? It could help us transport across frozen landscapes.
Titania steps forward and says, none of you will be able to utilize these.
Great.
Hey.
They respond only to the Burr hags that created them.
Shit. I'd like to keep them. I'll put them back in the bag. Be fun to clean up with at the keep after we survive this.
Every time you touch them, your hand is like immediately frostbitten and numb.
God, shit.
Dude, we should
The
just
mage
like
handed
chuck
that.
them in the water. Forget they ever existed.
Oh, Lev. Hey, nice to see you. Let me turn on your mic.
Lavender,
Hello there.
what's up?
Oh, yeah, she can't hear anything that's happening. This whole time I thought you could hear what was happening.
Yeah, I'm like-
Sorry, one sec. Can you guys talk for a sec?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This will all be cut out of the stream. Oh, boy.
Sorry.
I'll go let little puppy outside so I...
There we go.
Yeah, that's okay.
Could also hear just Mira's little nails clicking on the floor. Just Mira doing her little dance. So yeah, I think we go up north. I think we go for it.
Push into the heart of the beast. That's the plan.
Yeah. Let's go figure out what's going on.
So we're going to kidnap a frost giant?
Why are you guys so quiet?
Hondo, as you actually say that, Nova looks to you and says, if we can single out one, I can force him to speak the truth.
You and me, brother, we will do it.
This sounds like a plan.
This is just so quiet. I'm so sorry. It is so quiet and our fridge is so loud.
That's okay. Figure it out. Let's take 5 real quick.
Yeah, let's
Do
take
that.
5. Why is it so quiet?
A little break, and we're back. So, the wildcards you have gathered atop Senelise. Titania is kind of awaiting your plan, and she seems to be in odd form, a little more raw than you've seen her thus far, a little more impatient, actually a lot more impatient. And you can definitely see the harsh Fey side of this Queen of Summer, kind of coming through in a moment of desperation and pain and uncertainty. With you, Nova has returned from the plane of Pandemonium with evidence of aberrations being involved in the release of the Dubkatha in the way of Intellect Devourers. And Dahlia Orfinstra is with you as well, though her moonstaff is tapped with your travel across the plane of the Feywild. Though she still has some energy to kick in should you guys do some shit. But the main question ahead of you is a question of which direction or which path do you wish to proceed. You have potentially learning some information through the Mother of Witches, Baba Yaga. You would make your way to the court of the Unseelie Fae and potentially try and either meet with Aurelia herself or Galen Revere and learn information, gain allies, something there. You could take a full rest here in Senelise or within the Somerset Isles and just make sure you're at full strength. You could also make your way to the Isle of Cryonax Falls, where you know the Crow and his cronies are positioned, presumably excavating something of some kind for purposes currently unknown, though they can't be great. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's just vote. Honda's right. We should vote on it.
Quick question, because I might have missed it. Nova, you said something about you can force someone to tell the truth?
Indeed. A skill I used not long ago in the plane of Pandemonium to learn of this aberration, infestation, so to speak. A spell granted me by my queen.
So if this is just a suggestion, but potentially if we do go up to the Isle, we do not need to go in, swords blazing and just bust the way in there. We could talk, as we talked about, try to draw some forces out, pick away at numbers, and potentially potentially get some answers from someone. I mean, likely the dumbass giants won't know much, but they'll be able to give us answers about how long they've been there, what they were promised. Something. The only downside is we do not have an escape plan to get the fuck out of there. Or
I think that's
anywhere
pretty good
safe
plan.
to stay. Unless, how long of it, what's the relationship like with the Everbloom? Is there a place there we could potentially stay?
You asked that of the group.
Yes.
Nova, as you kind of had addressed him at first, speaks up and says, our relation with Everbloom is quite good. However, from the island, we would be a far ways trek from any city within Everbloom to take rest and refuge. We would be at least a few hours shy of the coastline of Everbloom, at least, just to travel.
Okay, so we don't potentially have an exit plan, but we can draw stuff out to us.
Look, those frost giants were dumb, and they were just like, I think we should just go there. I think the Unseelie Court, there's too much unknown. It doesn't sound like a good place for us to be. Baba Yaga, though I feel drawn to see what she knows. I think it isn't the best idea. Save that for a rainy day.
Well, what does everyone else think?
Lavender
Okay.
just leans down to Brawley and, like, way down and says, do you think that everybody has a Baba Yaga?
I mean, it's quite possible. We all come from somewhere, right?
Oh my god. She's just thinking about herself and her family now. She has no idea what's going on.
She's like, I'm not a
Mind
crazy
is
old
fucking
witch
blown.
grandma. That sounds great.
She's
You
just
probably
like,
do. You probably do. Hondo, what do you think?
I was leaning toward the Baba Yaga, to be honest.
Of course you are.
Baba Yaga is not the same thing as Baba Ganoush. You know this, right?
Does that change
Very
things?
well aware of this yet. But
Oh.
I think we would benefit from info rather than going into something blind.
Who are
is
you?
this man?
Who are you?
Who is this guy?
I like fighting as much as the next person, but we can always slay the Baba Yaga if we need to.
What's
Well,
everyone else in the room's response to that who knows what's going on about killing Baba
Literally
Yaga?
an hour ago, Hondo was like, I don't read. I just want to fight and stab someone.
That sounded a little...
Just a 180 on information here, pal.
I don't have to read either. I just listen to her and then I slay her.
Should we do an insight check that this is the same guy?
Yeah, maybe he's a Feywild decoy.
One of those brains got in him.
Just been sitting there since the fight with Val's dad.
Yeah, little tadpole.
I like that idea.
You
Learning new
see,
information.
Mary, you see at the idea of slaying Baba Yaga, some raised eyebrows from Nova, a kind of like slight shake of the head from Dahlia and Titania collectively.
Cool.
Okay, that was unexpected. I thought you were going to be all for the no plan, go fight. But
So one Baba Yaga.
one Baba Yaga, I'm in favor of get more info from the north with a
So
potential
head
fight.
to the island.
Like island recon.
Okay.
Brawley?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to you guys. Whatever you think is gonna be safer. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued to see what the Baba Yaga knows, but at the same time, I don't want to get into that kind of trouble. So, whatever you guys think is best.
Well, what about this? If we go to the Baba Yaga right now, I'm assuming we get a question for a answer. Do we have a specific question right now? Or could we potentially have a specific question if we go figure out and talk to someone first, figure out what we do and do not know, and then may have a specific question?
Hondo is itching to say something. What is it, Hondo?
Are you insane? We get as many questions as we want. We make her talk.
So I don't know if you heard the part in her title. It was it Mother of Witches?
We've faced enough hags. We faced your uncle. Who cares? We go, we make her talk.
We lost
So-
that fight.
Real bad.
Yeah.
I pat Heartbreaker's ashes.
Yeah, but we are not alone. We got new people with us now.
We have little people to look out for.
Nova,
I just
No.
realized.
Nova and Dahlia both are kind of to Hondo like, we would do well not to do battle with Baba Yaga, but utilizing tactics against her could in theory yield us results. They just could also have horribly bad ones.
We send
Is there
3
any-
people in, and then the rest surround her but hide. And when
Is
we
there-
hit you, they pounce.
Hondo, are you done?
Go
Is
on.
there any way we can communicate with the Baba without being face to face with the Baba?
Unfortunately, Titania kind of speaks up. Part of her magic is to be shrouded from any sources of divination, and that would include most forms of communication without being face to face. You would more or less have to be within her realm, within her reach, to attempt communication.
Would our magic even work there then?
Your magic would work, of course. Her realm is not impervious, but she herself is impervious to divination.
Okay, never mind.
Many forces of the Fae have a protection against things that would reach within their minds to spy upon them or see what they are thinking.
Mary, what are you leaning towards?
Baba Yaga scares the shit out of me. And I don't... Hondo, I'm very sorry. But I do not necessarily trust your... What's the right word?
Judgment, opinion,
Not necessarily judgment.
general opinion.
Just, I'm wary of your fucking attitude. And admittedly, for Valentine, you are also bad for that.
Yeah. You get me in the zone, I'm real bad for that kind of instinct.
I'm a little nervous about... I don't know shit about Feywild magic or hag magic, and it all scares the shit out of me. I just feel like that's not something we can control. We can't necessarily completely control our other options, but at least we won't, accidentally write ourselves into some agreement that we can't back out of.
That sounds
the
like-
island it is.
All
Lad,
we
what do you
have
think?
to
You want to go island?
No. All we have to do, we send in Valentine, Nova, and one other person, or 2 other people even. The rest of you hide around her. If any trouble happens, we all pounce. She will not expect it.
You're right. She won't expect. No, it's just a terrible plan. I can't even come up with some
This
sort
is
of
a
farcical
Baba.
statement.
This is a Baba. This isn't a Mama. The
It's
Baba
the
has been through so
Baba.
many things
Can't
before.
move. She's useless.
I don't think that's true. I mean, she's still alive for some reason. I feel like if we were to just try to go murder her, she's gotta be powerful as shit, right?
Why don't we know anything about this Baba? Why don't you know anything about your own Baba? You are so lucky to know you have a Baba.
I don't know.
If I knew that I had a Baba, I would be all up on that.
I just found out I have a Baba. She's not fully related to me.
Where
We
have
don't
you been?
know. She's just also a relation to hags, which I just learned this year. It's been a crazy year.
I'm sorry, I know you had a hard day.
Don't touch me.
She forces the touch.
I relent.
Okay, so you want to go to this island thing?
Do you want to go to the island thing? Or do you want to go talk to my old grandma? Who's a scary evil witch. She will kill us all.
You
Are
don't
we
know that for sure.
abandoning? We're abandoning. Just to be clear, we're abandoning the option of going to the winter
The land of
area, right?
terror and enslavement? Yeah, I
Just
think
making
so.
sure that's off the table. Oh my god, there's a really cute cat with creepy eyes in Ellie's shot. His eyes were flashing. Okay.
That just doesn't seem like it's gonna be something that gets us anywhere.
I think, like Mary said, Hondo, hear me out. We check out the north place because it has a lesser chance of us dying. It's still high, lesser. And then, after we're done with that, we could always circle back and try your ambush, the Baba Yaga.
I think, personally, going up north is useless. You'll get nothing out of it because it's the easy way. We won't get any useful info. We go to the Baba Yaga, we save a journey, we won't have to go up north.
I kind of agree with Hondo now.
Oh, God.
Hondo.
This is going to be a fucking episode. What does Lily think in the background there, bro?
Oh, good.
Gord, do you think we should visit the Baba Yaga, or do you think we should go up north?
Baba Yaga.
What is up north for us? The changing trees?
The where the vision was, where like terrible things are happening in the ice?
Yeah, but okay, terrible things are happening there. Where are they coming from?
Up
That
north.
is what we need to know. Maybe Baba is doing that.
Okay, so let's talk about going to the Baba Yaga. Like Mary is about to say, what do we ask her?
What specifically are we getting from this?
So we say, look, I almost had like the inkling of a thought where it's like, do we ask what the Doob Katha is up to? Understand, this is the Feywild, so she can be like, he's up to nefarious acts. That's her answer. Now I owe her my soul.
In detail.
It could be like that.
What is he doing in detail?
Okay. Are you willing to bet your soul on this and not any of ours?
I mean, I've already bet my soul once. What's another?
You can't bet a soul.
It went really poorly. Let's not forget, last time you bet your soul, you almost lost it.
Now, I will say,
for collateral.
I will say, that's because our souls are in it too. If it's just his soul,
Let's come up with a list of questions we could potentially ask. What do they want the Titan for? That is a solid. Why are they there? Right? What is it that they found?
Out of here?
What is it that they found in the body of a dead Titan that they were so excited about?
And I would say
that's a question.
The question in detail, so that they have to go in detail.
That's a absolutely. That's a
like
great...
she's definitely going to be like, oh, okay, I'll make sure. We could ask where my third uncle is. Second uncle, I guess.
Doesn't
does he have any other relatives?
Let's make sure we have a rank on these in terms of what's going to give us the most information.
That one's at the bottom.
We know it's going to be. It's interesting. It depends on if we have to give, to use your words, if we have to give a soul every time. Is that a soul necessary question at this point?
Whose soul, though? That's
it's interesting, but it's a little bit selfish.
I feel like it's very pertinent to the situation.
Okay, the other side of things.
Okay.
We go up north. We see the bad things. Oh no, there's bad things. What do we do there?
We may see nothing. It's a vision we're going on. A bloody vision.
Yeah, that could be
it's not a
deceit.
vision. I
that
saw
could be
it
someone
happen.
put that in their head. We are in the Feywild.
No, I crystal balled it. I saw it go down.
I feel like I'm going
Yeah,
insane.
no, that's true. He did. He crystal balled it. That didn't go in their head. It's like I haven't even been here to watch him do that.
He saw me. It was like 2 hours ago. So I feel like we're at a bit of a stalemate. Titania, Dahlia, Nova, do you have any thoughts on one? We have a Baba Yaga plan, which is literally just go knock on her door and ask her how she's doing. We have no questions
What
prepared.
if we put it in the hat?
You want to roll for it?
Yes.
We can roll for it.
Sorry, you were asking those people questions, though.
Leaving such decisions up to chance is not my favorite option.
I personally hate that, but
It seems as though we just made a decision for the rest of the group.
It goes very quickly.
Dahlia just kind of says, I admit that Baba Yaga could provide us with information that could
Screw it. I vote Baba.
But then Nova's like, but we could go directly to the source of our evil within our realm, and we could attempt to destroy it and discern what's happening up there. And the two of them get into like a mini argument.
That's true.
Oh my god.
So I have this dice, right? Little dragon dice from my gambling set. I can roll it.
Yeah.
I can roll it. Odds.
What's the count, first of all?
Odds we go to. Oh, like the count of the vote?
Yeah, what's the vote rate?
That's fair. So it's Hondo and Lav for Baba.
And Gord.
That's Thorn, to be
Gordon.
honest.
You're right. I think you guys won. And Gord. And then Mary and Val for Don't Go to Baba. And
Allie
then
has not voted.
Brawley was just like wherever it goes. She was interested in Baba.
Dahlia was Baba, right?
Dahlia was Baba.
That was Baba.
Dahlia
Okay,
was
there
Baba.
you go. There you go.
Nova was the island.
I don't want to be the one responsible for making the decision.
The most indecisive is the one to make the decision.
Currently, Baba Yaga has the most votes, but
Okay,
your party hasn't
Brawley.
voted.
If Brawley doesn't
If
vote, we
you
go.
say the North, it's up to chance.
No,
But if you say the Baba, you're on the best team. So you just have to make a decision.
I thought there are 2 votes left.
Titania is like a god.
not
I
gonna
don't know if
vote.
She wants to vote.
No, that's me deciding for you, and I won't.
See, normally for big things like this, I get Keith to pick for me, and he's not here.
Fern strides up to her.
You can sit out the
Nuzzles his head down into you.
I don't know. I kind of want to go see the Baba Yaga.
We go see the Baba Yaga. That's 4-2.
Oh man!
God damn it.
Kyle's mind just got.
Oh boy.
What a day! What a day we're having, Jack.
He's like, oh my god, I didn't know that this whole game was gonna end today.
Oh man! Yeah. All right.
We talked about this on the break for like 5 minutes about how we're never gonna go there.
We're going.
That'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, we're doing
Tanya
it.
begins striding towards the nearest tree of her court and says, if this is your purpose, this is your charge, then travel swift, get the information you need, have your wits about you. Just remember, the Fae is beauty and hatred in one. Guard your minds. Guard one another. And I will watch over you as best I can from here. She
Thank
traces a hand across the exterior of this bark of this tree. Dahlia and Nova nod their heads and travel through the tree.
This is a quick spell, so let's just hurry after. I'll rush through with Fernie Boy.
Okay. I'm assuming everyone else is going to follow suit.
It's just me and those fucking guys. Thanks, kids.
Bye.
Okay. As you all step through, you move from a realm that was this golden light, warm of a summer day, and though you've been speaking of dangerous things, it was kind of in a light atmosphere, and everything seemed cheerful almost, despite the tone of what you're speaking of. Immediately on the other side of this portal, you step into the dark heart of a forest. Tall, spindly trees reach up into a darkened bough above. You see no sign of sky, and in all directions you see only a vague kind of mist and fog that lie heavy along the ground. None of the trees here seem to have branches until maybe 15 feet up. Everything seems snapped, small and thin. The trees look not dead, but not healthy. The ground cover is cracks and breaks beneath you, dry, not healthy. This somewhat dead grove that sunlight does not penetrate stands before you. However, through its cracked boughs and this forest floor littered with death, you see the flicker of flame in 2 little windows of a hut. You see dark exterior of this hut through a somewhat open expanse of kind of cracked earth and haphazard stone. You see a relatively small hut, nothing impressive. Its wood looks old and misshapen, like that of something long sat in a swamp or bog, though there's no moisture around you. You notice, too, the temperature is a little cooler here, and that immediately gives you a moment of pause, given the beings you've been in battle with, but nothing comes of that. Nova and Dahlia look back to your group, say, "We are here to guide you. We're here to help you. But we cannot do this for you. We will follow your lead. Wildcards." And they just kind of wait.
I will look at Hondo, just quietly say, "Do not fucking get them killed. I swear to all the gods."
I think that if there's ever a room that we just have to go into, Hondo, you're the captain. You go first, okay?
I really caution that idea, especially when we're going into someone who's like a super powerful being.
Val,
Usually, if it's like a dungeon, I love sending Hondo first.
Okay, if it's a dungeon, Hondo, you go first.
Yeah.
Val, you go first. You know, it's family thing. I'll follow.
Dude, this was your idea.
Yeah, that feels fair. That feels right.
Everybody consensus? If it's anything but a dungeon, Hondo, you go first, okay?
I'll walk first.
Okay.
I'll go too.
Yep.
We don't even know what questions are. God damn it.
You have a vague list.
Please don't make any deals without consolidating with the group. Goes for everyone. Try not to get in a fight. She might. Let's just be respectful.
Do we have an inventory of our bag of holding? Any good things to offer?
I have a digital resource to scroll through it whenever the time comes.
I have a question.
Yes?
Am I going to be able to understand her? Does she speak English?
We're about to
common?
find out.
I mean,
Let's
she's
ask
a
her.
hag. She should speak every language.
She is not just a hag. Please be kind.
Sorry, she's your grandma.
This guy.
Wait, is that the part you thought he was offended by?
I keep walking forward, just like tapping Thorn.
Oh, fuck me.
I look at Fern. Can I just gauge how Fern is feeling in this moment?
Fern follows your lead, but is on alert and looks uncomfortable. But fair point. All of you look a little uncomfortable.
It is fair. Except Hondo, yeah.
Except Hondo. Hondo looks okay. Actually, you know what? I'm sure Gord actually looks okay.
How can you tell he's got a mask on?
I would be comforting you right now, Fern, if you didn't kick me off you the other time that I was riding you. Go back to your stupid Valentine.
Hey.
Hey, Valentine.
You guys
Hey.
slowly begin stepping your way across this cracking beneath every footstep of dry, dead leaves and twigs. Val and Hondo taking the lead. You see, too, strewn amongst the dried leaves and twig, the sharp point of bone every so often. Small, thin, like that of a mouse, squirrel, something small, as long dead. But ahead, through the fog and through these tall boughs of, for the most part, leafless trees, you see the hut begin to come more and more into detail, into focus. You see it's kind of sitting atop this, what looks like a rotting stump of a once giant tree that kind of, its roots reach out throughout this expanse of haphazard stone. And you have to cross over them every now and again. And every step you take, you feel the air around you still. Suddenly, sound is gone. The creaking of the hut, like something moving and shifting within, is ear-piercing all of a sudden. You see a faint shadow pass by, a candle within the window of one of the two windows at the face of this hut. And you can see it's not big, maybe 20 by 20, give or take. Not massive, large enough for probably only 3, maybe 4 of you. And you see as you get within about 25, 30 feet, the door just creak open, and you see a faint flicker of candlelight.
We should have brought her something. We're so stupid.
I'll just like tap Fern's head and stride forward a bit. And then I'll just like get down on one knee and bow my head and be like, grandmother of hags, mother of witches, the Baba Yaga.
You hear louder than you would expect, and kind of in all directions, not just from the hut. Valentine flew wild, shadow sun. You come to me at last.
I'll get up from my stance, kind of just look back, shrug like, oh fuck, here we go again. Start walking forwards. It's nice to talk to an old family relative.
Family can be fickle, but you come with question, purpose. We need not idly chatter.
Thank God, because these ones behind me, oh boy, they'll talk your ear off.
Oh, I could talk your ear off, boy. I have much to tell you, much to learn, much to impart.
Can I try and get a closer look at her as I walk closer?
Mm-hmm.
If it's coming from her, it's like all around.
It's kind of all around, but you do, as you get slowly closer and closer, you could hear it at the point about 20 feet out where you took your knee. As you begin to slowly take steps forward and forward, you do see there's like a rise up of stairs through this kind of dead stump that the base of the hut sits atop. You can see sat at a chair directly through the doorway this old cronish figure. These heavy black robes and green robes that seem like caked in moss and just dried vegetation. This like matted, almost dread-like just pile of hair that is gray and black and just hangs in odd tendrils. They seem almost wet, slick with oil or something. This long, wart-covered nose and grayish skin of this long, pointed face, harsh, angular features as she kind of back, like arched up, her head sitting almost like in deep into her chest. She sits with her hands crossed, and just you see these like orangey eyes that flicker with the glint of flame. Yes, the shadow suns. Not very often I speak to more than one in a century. Come forward, and any of you who wish to come with him, you are welcome to.
I keep walking, but I take a casual glance behind me like, which one of you motherfuckers are in this with me?
I will go with you.
I'm going to.
Anyone but him.
Lav, you say you're going?
Yes.
Okay. 3 of you step forward. You see, as you guys take your first couple of steps on this creaky steps up of wood towards the hut, you see she stands, and she's not exceptionally tall. She's almost only about 5 feet tall, and she kind of stands in the creak of the wood. You almost feel like the whole house, though, shift as she stands and shifts around, and with a flick of her finger, candles kind of lift off and drift around and settle around in kind of a circle on the table. And you see chairs kind of skirt back and move, 3 chairs for the 3 of you, as she moves her way around to the one side. You lose sight of her as she kind of steps around the side, and you guys make your climb. Those of you staying outside, Nova and Dahlia seem to kind of take somewhat defensive positions, kind of flanking off a little bit, though not getting closer than 15 feet of the hut itself, but taking kind of corner position. You see Nova draw Atraxia and just kind of hold it at the ready. In Mary, you recognize a battle stance, just ready for action. Dahlia kind of holds her staff aloft. Allie, Gord, and Mary and Fern, you guys are hanging back.
You said that you just said that it wasn't very big, right?
It's not.
Like not many people.
Not enough
can
for all of
fit.
you, for sure.
Mary, come chill by the door. You know you want in on this shit.
I was gonna say I'll stand like in the doorway.
Okay.
But
And I'll stand across from Mary.
Okay, so you guys get close to the door on the edge of there's like a kind of a deck on the exterior at the top where the steps lead. Gord, are you hanging back?
where are you going in?
Or are you pushing
I'm
in?
going to cast 1 second.
Okay.
One with shadows.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
What does that do?
From basically anywhere around here, you're kind of always in dim light in basically the entire area. So you can, at any point in time, if you want to hold your position, you can be invisible.
Oh.
But you're going to stay on the exterior, kind of towards back in the line where Dahlia and Nova are, not quite on the house.
Yep.
Got it. Valentine at the lead, Hondo and Lavender following shortly thereafter, and with Allie and Mary at the exterior. The hut is open to you, and you see the Baba Yaga sit at the table awaiting your entrance.
So I'll take a step in and move to an open chair.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little sit.
I'll take a step in. Pleasure to meet you, Baba Yaga. I also sit down, but closer to Valentine than I usually am.
Scooching the chair awkwardly.
And who else do we have here?
It's my friend Lavender. In the doorway is my friend Mary. That's Hondo the Blue. I'm sure you've heard about him.
I walk in, I grab a chair, turn it around, sit. How do you do?
Oh, I do quite well.
Perfect.
She looks out at the 2 girls on the exterior with a little wave. The door closes.
Is Mary in or out?
Mary and Allie are on the exterior. There are 2 windows, but you are not in the inside, and you don't have a direct throughway, but you have a window that you could look through. But she looks,
So you
go for it. No. I was just going to say, she looks across the 3 of you, and you see this just wide smile of black and yellow teeth, and she awaits.
You mentioned it was rare to talk to another Shadow Son in the same century.
Indeed.
Is that my father you're referring to?
Is that a question you wish answered?
I just thought we were having casual conversation.
I pick and choose which I like to answer.
Well, if you don't answer that one, that's fine. We're curious about another Shadow Son, the Doob Katha.
Yes. Lucius.
Such a forgettable name.
But not a forgettable figure.
Or face.
No. Well, is interesting to me. I find your whole bloodline so curious. You, most of all, of course, your dual nature. You have blood. But the other three, well, they are something else. They are something of legend. Now, what would you like to know?
The Duke Katha.
Sorry.
The Duke Katha. He was released from his prison in the Pandemonium. Perhaps you're aware of this.
Indeed, I am.
He's doing something in the north. He wields the Ring of Winter. Seems like he's united with some frost giants. We're curious what his ultimate goal is here.
This answer I have, and much more. I know many things of his nature, of his purpose, of this ring. I know how he acquired it. I know its eventual end. And I
Wow, that sounds super helpful. It's great.
yes, I imagine you would enjoy that answer.
Totally.
So, how much would you enjoy it?
It would be like super helpful, this entire situation. There's really some gaps in our knowledge that we're like really hoping to find.
And how much would you be willing to offer for said answer?
How much we'd be willing to offer? You know, we were wondering that on the way over here. We wondered what someone like you, the grandmother of hags, would find valuable. Is it coin? Is it items? Is it favors? More knowledge? And I'm just really not sure what would interest someone like you.
I find interest in all of the above. I find interest in need for things and acts and deeds that would cause misery and pain. That will keep me satiated.
Well, someone like you seems to guard their secrets well. Perhaps you would be interested in something that would help you guard secrets that you have to have written down. And I'll pull out the infernal puzzle box. Would this interest you?
DM question.
Sure.
There's nothing inside it.
You took it out. Where is it?
That thing is probably just in... there you go.
So
Yeah.
you left the contract in the
We left
Platinum
it with them.
Sanctuary?
Mm-hmm. We took a rubbing of it,
Yep. But you left the actual contract itself in the Platinum Sanctuary.
but we do also have a rubbing of it.
She looks over it and kind of gestures in a may I type gesture.
I'll mage hand it over. Past Lav's nose.
Yeah.
She kind of traces a long, crooked, and bent finger with these horrid nails that are cracked and broken. She traces a finger across it.
It's an everyday vitamin.
She lifts it up in the palm of her hand and says, "This is a surprisingly intriguing item. Enough for some of the truth, but not all of my answer. I can give you some of what you wish for this."
Do we get to choose? or you would like to choose what you tell us?
I have in mind that which I value, this and the information. But if you wish, you may try.
That's very kind of you. Thank you, Baba.
Of course.
I'll lean towards Hondo just because I want to hear his fucking bullshit item requests, like dragon tooth or book. Hondo, what do you think we should offer?
You have, to be fair, we have lots of books. She just said she wants some info, knowledge. We give her a book. They're valuable books too.
Yeah, but what kind of book? Which book?
We found so many in the libraries we've raided. The one I just had Dahlia read to me, we could offer.
Which one was that one? That was about...
It's about the Queen of Air and Darkness, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which, like, we admittedly didn't finish, but...
I'll try. Perhaps a book about someone else who lives here. The Queen of Air and Darkness, taken from Sylvanus's private library.
You can see her expression change. Ev just flips through it and just kind of sets it off to the side and says, "If you wish to trade information for information, it must be something I don't already know, and something I actually am interested in."
Can I ask a DM question?
Yeah.
Does Valentine know the word tenebrious?
You have heard Gord say it, yeah.
Do I know that it has significance?
You know that it has significance, but to what and about what? You have literally zero idea. You know a name. Or you don't even know that it's a name of a thing. You know
It was a password.
It was a password.
I heard Gord say it a lot, though.
Yeah.
He was saying it a lot in the realm, and then it was the password to Carval's crypt, right?
One of
them.
vaults.
It was like his workshop or something.
Yeah, workshop vault.
Mary, I saw what you put in the chat. We have a rubbing of Carval's contract. We have nothing to lose by sharing that.
I mean, it's what was actually in the box. Obviously, this is Leah talking.
You know, we got that box. Have you heard of Carval before?
You see her eyes kind of flick up, and there's a little bit of like light flicker. She says, "That is a name I have heard, but not in some time."
We faced him in the abyss.
That's where he ended up.
That infernal puzzle box you hold, that was his. Inside, there was a contract. We have a copy of that contract, and we'd be willing to share that information with you.
Her smile grows enormous. It's very unsettling. See this blackened tongue licking her lips, just a little spittle, drool rolling down a pointed cheek. She says, "Now that is something I'm very interested in. Who is this contract with?"
Now. I think we might have to go information for information here.
You've learned to play the game. Well, I give my half and take your infernal puzzle box.
Mm-hmm.
You provide me the contract, I give you the other half.
Sounds fair.
Then we have an accord.
May I make one tiny addendum to this? We would also like to we made a copy of this. We'd also like to make one more copy before we pass it to you.
And we'd also like to leave here the way that we came.
That's
And
fair.
be protected
No.
anytime we come to this land. Because, Baba, this is good.
I certainly cannot compromise that. But make a persuasion check. Valentine.
Which one?
Valentine, sorry, for the rubbing.
We get a contract? Yeah.
Yeah. She's certainly not going to give you a free passage.
Whew, that was so close to a 1. 28? Oh, wait. Sorry, persuasion? Oh, it's the same dice. Okay, 28.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Good job.
Oh my god, is that the Baba Yaga? I'm probably... What's that?
She says, I have to think about it.
Take your time.
Yeah. She says, I believe that is fair. But she pulls her her claw up and over the Inferno puzzle box, and you see it just drift in within her robes, and she settles back down and says, the crow was held in the plane of pandemonium, the dreaded end. This I can tell you already know. His release was orchestrated by one Virak, a mind flayer of the Nine Hells. Of the Nine Hells, but not of Asmodeus. Now you wonder, how is one of the nine, but not of Asmodeus? Well, this is why your blood is so interesting to me. You know very little of your blood, do you not, Valentine?
I'm learning more and more every day.
Well, learn this. Your brother, your uncle, father, and both uncles, both hail from the Hag Countess Malborg of the 6th layer of hell. Archdevil of the 6th layer. Interesting bloodline you bear. Such evil in such a pretty form. Now, Lucius was granted passage, and he came to me seeking answers. For when he was set free, he went to his brother's home. But what he found was nothing. You're doing, I believe, you and your foolish friends. She looks towards Hondo and then outward towards the door. Had filled him with some rage I have not seen in many years. He came to me with that malice in his heart. And oh, did he want your heart on a plate? So he sought how to gain revenge on you, on your friends, and on his oldest enemy, the Summer Queen. And I thought long and hard. The Ring of Winter would do just fine. Now, about that contract.
I just stare at her for a bit.
She's just wide smile. You see like a spider crawl out of her nose and under her lip.
I like wipe My face.
Yeah.
Just when you retell the story, it's the wild cards, not like a bunch of foolish friends. Just think it's better to be on brand. I'll take out the contract. This is out of game, but we have the original, so I'll just like slide it to her.
Okay.
Slide it across half the table.
She reaches out towards it, grabs hold, and unfurls. I guess it's you have a rubbing, so unfurls.
It's a rubbing, yeah.
And you watch her eyes just dart very quickly across the script. You recall it being infernal and abyssal in nature in some areas. Pardon me. But
Can I ask a quick cue?
Yeah.
Who was that contract with? It wasn't Malbor, was it?
It was Mephistopheles,
That's it.
Lord of Kenya, the 8th layer of hell.
Okay.
You watch her eyes scan across, and it's held up in front of her face, and it kind of shrouds her for a moment. And as she kind of finishes and rolls it back up and holds it in her hand still in front of her on the table, that grin has impossibly widened even larger. It says, "Oh, this is good. A very worthy offering. You know not what this will mean. But as I said, the rest of your question, I sent the Dubkatha north in your realm to the 3 of the North Wind who bore the Ring of Winter. I told him he must slay the eldest devourer whole, and let her coven become his. Take the ring from her, and then he would achieve his goal. For the ring speaks to the wearer, reaches into their minds, dots little ideas and plots of destruction, and I knew it would lead him home here. I knew it would take him to Cryonax. Within Cryonax lies the heart of an elemental titan of ice. Through this elemental heart, its chaos, a ritual can be performed. With the Ring of Winter, a perpetual winter will reign. A cold day when the queen falls. Summer will bask no more here. Just as he had wished. I provided him these answers. He provided me much more. So, to answer your question, Lucius will ache the heart of Cryonax, and with the Ring of Winter, perform the ritual. Once the ritual is done, there will be no stopping it. I hope my answers will suffice. She sits back.
What did my uncle provide you?
You have more to offer then.
Please. After the smile you just had when I showed you that contract, you can't tell me what my uncle gave you.
Misery, my boy. Misery.
I give him misery all the time. That's not an answer.
It's very, very true.
We have not had dealings yet, my blue friend.
Hondo.
Lavender just reaches out and just covers and just grabs Hondo's head and just starts patting his head. Sorry, sometimes we just take him along with us. He has no manners. We're teaching him. He pushes him away.
Thank you. This was very helpful.
Thank you, Baba. This was so great.
I'm curious.
You would be.
You said you had a lot to tell me. I'm curious where my next uncle is. The one we haven't spoken of.
He waits. He watches. I'm sure you will meet him soon enough.
I get up, I throw a butterfly wing at her, and I said, now answer the question.
The butterfly flies up in the air and just kind of lands on the table. She looks down at it and looks up at you and says, do you wish to walk out the fear? Or be carried
Hondo.
out?
Hondo. I'll just tap Hondo's knee.
I have faced many more frightening than you, but I'm not looking for a fight right now.
A wise boy. And a fight will come to you nonetheless, not from me. Take that not as a threat. A premonition, perhaps.
Well, that's a pretty easy bet. I'm not going to lie.
I have one more offer, and I give the hag's broom. I said, will this suffice to tell him more about his uncle?
Make a persuasion check.
Good call, Hondo. What a boy. We have two of those. BT dub. What do you add? You're not bad at this.
I think my persuasion is 13, so 20.
If we'd been smarter, we would have inspired each other. But you know what? Here we are.
Yeah.
She
We literally
says,
have all the bards in one room, and no one inspired anybody.
Yeah, we're good at this.
she grabs hold of the edge of the broom and kind of takes it onto her side and just kind of traces her finger along its gray staff and says, for you, I will answer one question of his nature.
Did she looked at me when he said? She
was
looked
just-
at me when she...
I basically moved across all three of you.
It's up to you, Hondo. Like, you didn't get a question here. What question do you want?
No, I want her to finish the question that you asked her.
That was the prompt about the uncle.
So yeah, I guess it was, who's the second uncle? I'm just wondering if that's the most valuable question to ask.
Where is he? What's his story?
I'm kind of so curious about this play in the Nine Hells, though. That's interesting.
Either that or the whole is because of the Nine Hells. This is something you brought up earlier. The whole thing about the Nine Hells being connected to the Revenant Vow.
I'll lean across the table. I'll look at the broom. I'll look at Hondo. I'll look at Lavender. Do you know where her mom is?
Oh my god, I was just going to ask about Espenthal.
She smiles wide and says, this was not the deal I just made with your friend, dear. If you want an answer to that, another offering must be made.
I look at Valentine. What are you doing? Get back to what we need.
Shut up.
I don't have much. As you probably already know, you're so wise, Baba. I'm from Estevatol. I have a cloak, an extra cloak. I mean, you never know if things are going to be all wintry like you are saying. You may need an extra layer. Can you tell me?
Considerate.
I feel as though I just felt this energy connection with you when we came in. Is there any way you would be interested in a cloak just to learn a little bit about Estevatol or my mother?
I will answer your question if, and she points a finger down to your chest and says, you hand me that amulet around your neck.
I am so sorry. I have to keep this. It is so close to my heart. Is there anything else that you would like?
I think the misery it would cause you to lose it is my only price.
I am so sorry.
That's probably a no.
I respectfully decline. I hope you understand.
Of course. Hopefully your mother's suffering will end enough soon.
This seems like a dagger being turned. We can come back to this another time.
Please do.
I get up and leave.
Okay. Lavender walks out of the hut, passing by Allie and Mary, waiting patiently on the exterior. The door closes on its own behind her.
Are you okay?
I don't want to talk right now about Bradley. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just glad you're okay.
Inside the hut,
I'm not okay.
she looks from Valentine to Hondo and says, and then there were two. I know you want more. I know you have more to offer.
Well, if you want that broom, we have two of them. Seems specific to those bear hags that you were so familiar with.
Indeed.
It'd be nice to know about the third uncle. Sorry, the second uncle, the third shadow son. So we'd be willing to trade you both those bear hag brooms for a little information about the third shadow son.
I have already agreed. You have one question of him for the broom.
Perfect. For one broom?
Indeed.
Great, because I was hoping to use the other one to clean up my room back in Arendelle. Where is he?
Sorry. Where is it? Yeah. He sits in the 9, aside the Hag Countess. Malbolg is where he resides.
So that's my grandma, eh?
So it would seem.
Baba, this has been great. It's been good to learn some stuff. I feel like catching up with an old relative is always important, you know what I mean?
In a way.
We should do this more often. When I'm done killing Lucius, maybe I'll come back and we can talk a bit more about the mama's boy sitting in the 9 layers of hell.
My hut is always open to those willing to deal, especially when you have such savory items as these.
Oh no, you good?
I'm good.
All right. You had a spider on your face earlier. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but
No
I'm gonna check
problem.
that out. Okay, great.
She waves a finger and the door opens.
I'll like let Hondo walk out first.
I will walk out.
I'll like pause in the doorway.
She looks at you with a like cocked head.
I didn't like that part where you said my friend's mom was suffering.
I know.
We'll talk about that later, and then I'll leave.
The door closes behind you and you just hear kind of all pervasive through the fog. You guys walk back. You see Dahlia and Nova awaiting and seemingly surprised to see everyone walking out all in one piece.
Yeah, she was all right.
Let's go to the north.
One snag. I can no longer do that.
Maybe we can walk a bit there at least, get out of eyesight of this hut, and then make camp for the night. Is it, sorry, what light is it here?
Light here is very dim. You can't even
Okay.
tell, like, you can't see the sky. You just see the dark, like, boughs of the tree. Nova kind of looks around and says, well, to be here, we must be in the realm of Everbloom. We wouldn't be but a few hours' journey back to San Elise, or the Somerset Isles at the very least. We could push through the night, or through.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. You guys begin to set out on foot. Or
I'll
mount.
tell Fern to, I won't mount Fern. I'll have him like go nudge Lavender and just kind of like poke her with his head. Try and make her get on him.
I just go like this. Stop. And then I pull out my little pan flute thing and I just start playing by myself.
Okay.
Your ocarina or your
Yeah.
pan flute? Okay. There's a difference between, I feel like, ocarina and
It's a
pan
pan
flute.
but
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
and the melody is extremely sad.
Very, very sad.
Just. For about an hour and 2 hours, you walk through what seems to feel like the same woods. Low fog, dead, dying branches and trees. Though, you seem to be making ground, not just perpetually like on a treadmill of forest. At the end of the second hour, you do break out of this dead forest, and you kind of reach out beneath the edges of this and out into kind of an open plain field that kind of heads down a bit of a rise, and you can see the lock is maybe about an hour away from you. The Euphoria lock, and you see the edges of Somerset Isle and the floating isles above. Are you guys going to make your way to Somerset or camp along the edge here? What are you doing?
I think that we should leave this place. Who's with me?
Nova just kind of looks around as no one responds and just says, do you mean to leave the Fae or to leave the edges of this wood?
No disrespect, Nova, but I don't really want to be in the Fae anymore. But the least we could do is leave these woods.
I wholeheartedly agree. We should make our way away from these woods. And if you have the strength within you to push to Somerset, we will find rest there.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
You guys make your way to the village of Somerset. Pardon me. At this point, Dahlia and Nova kind of break off a bit as you guys find there are places provided for you to sleep, and you do find at the end of this about 3 more hours of travel that you are beginning to grow weary of the day and the weight of what you have learned kind of settles in on you. Dahlia and Nova both just say, we will get you at not first light, but your version of first light, and make a plan. But we must rest as well.
Lavender shape changes into herself, but herself like happier to disguise the fact that she is like feeling shattered.
Sure. Easy enough. Just a glamour of happiness.
Yep, like she's just playing her thing. She's walking, she's drawing, she's killing time. She's not talking to anyone, but no one who just met her would think that she was upset.
Easy enough. Dahlia and Nova say goodnight.
Where are they going to sleep? Just in a different spot?
Yeah, they seem to head off towards another hut on the island.
Can I ask you guys a question before you go?
Of course.
Do you think all hags are bad?
Nova kind of ponders the idea and says, I've never met one that was good. And Dahlia says, kind of leans in ever so slightly, not so much out of Nova's ear, but just like a courtesy lean towards you. Says, is this the root of your crisis of faith?
So my crisis of faith is more about the perception of whether all hags are bad, whether there's tainted bloodlines. I'm of the belief there's no such thing. There's people who fall into dark dealings. Glance over at Gord. There's people who make bad choices. Glance over at Hondo. But I don't think that anyone is fully bad by birth. I think it's our actions and our choices and pivotal moments that decide if we're evil or good. So no, I don't think all hags are bad.
I would agree. I think there is much truth in what you say. I think the truth of the matter with hags is that they are not born into families of love and happiness. They are born into servitude, of misery and darkness. And one cannot help but turn evil when you are only given evil and hatred in your heart.
Yeah, that feels fair. All right, just was something that was on my mind.
Sleep well, Valentine.
Yeah, you guys too.
They make their way.
I was gonna try and talk to Lav, but she's a little standoffish.
Yeah, Lab does not seem interested in speaking with anybody right now.
Mary, are you here? That's all good.
No, I'm sorry, I'm here. I just sitting
Don't
far
worry.
away from the thing.
Don't you worry. Just want to make sure you heard all of that conversation, that you were caught up to speed.
Mhm.
Well, let's have a good sleep. And in the morning, it's the plan to keep going north.
Figure out how this all ties together.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, I'll curl up into Fern's little wing. Okay, I will glance at Brawley. Are we just in like a cool little hut? All of us in the exact same room?
There, in the same way that you guys were here the other night, there are like 2 huts with enough beds to sleep all of you. One is not enough to sleep all of you unless you sleep on the floor, but you totally can.
I assume Gord wanted his own room.
Gord typically takes off on his own.
I'll look over to Brawley and say, that was a really sad story you read earlier.
Yeah, I'm really sorry they all had to go through that. I had no idea.
Stormcrag, that's not a relic of Ragnar's. That was just someone who fought beside him at one point, right?
Yeah.
Let's make sure our story doesn't have a sad ending like that.
Yeah. We can only hope.
Okay, good night.
Good night. And then I'm just gonna kind of pull out the book that I was reading earlier and flip to the page that had the photo and just kind of like stare and fall asleep with it.
Easy enough.
Just wrecks me. If this one had heard that story, oh boy.
Oh my god, I'm already so
I
close
know.
to tears. I was over there thinking like, oh my god, I think I might cry.
I love Dungeons and Dragons.
I love when you guys just give me all the daggers and just let me use them. Like, you just walk into a room of daggers and it's like, you got it!
Let me stab you.
A night's rest.
We're
Not
doing
necessarily peaceful. You guys, it's up to you.
Just picture Hondo staring out the window.
Just...
I felt safe here, but hey, if you want to do it, maybe I'll have Fernie Boy like stay awake. He doesn't really need to sleep.
Nah, I'm okay.
All right, great. I appreciate that confidence.
In that case, if Fern's going to make a bit of a watch, make a perception check for Fern.
Let's do it. Oh, that's almost as good as you can do. That's a 19 plus, I think, like 5. What do you got, Fern? Plus 4, so 23.
Okay. Fern stays awake without the need for sleep, and you are not alerted to anything through the night, anything untoward, kind of nothing at all. You manage to all collectively have a night's rest. You finish a long rest. Your spells and hit points, all that jazz, are back, except for Valentine's total for the Bloodstone. You're still down 15, I believe.
Mm-hmm. 70 something here. 70. Oh shit!
It probably resets full.
Just reset full. It's at 75.
You're down 15. Whatever. I don't know if you're at 90. Then yeah, that's 75.
15. That's real easy. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. But no scary dreams. No sudden change in weather. The night seems your sleep completes, though the temperature and the light never seems to change from this faint golden hour. But you all awake, and you hear a feint at your door.
Yeah, I'm awake. I'll stumble over to the door, open it up.
You see both Nova and Dahlia fully dressed, ready for the day, armored up, pristine.
Didn't we like just fall asleep?
No, it has been exactly 8 hours.
Oh my god. How do you even like tell with this sun?
You get used to it.
Okay. So yeah, Dal, you're good to do your staff's back to normal?
I am at full strength this morning. Are your friends at the ready?
Yep. They look perfect.
May we come in?
Sure.
Dahlia and Nova make their way into your sleeping quarters as you all begin to arouse.
I'm always aroused.
There's no coffee yet, so Mary's a little grumpy.
They both say Dahlia says, sorry. There are trees nearby that we could take. I have just one question. I suppose two. Do we wish to travel to the edge of Deep Winter or the edge of Everbloom and make our voyage from there? No matter which way we go, we will need to cross the the frigid waters of the north. By my calculation, we have about a 12-mile travel from shoreline to the island.
That's right, it's an island.
How we cross that is up to you, really.
We have a carpet that seats 4. Fern can take 2. And we're a party of 8 right now. Am I counting that right? Hondo,
Yep.
Mary, Gord,
And,
K8.
yeah, not including Fern.
12
So we
miles is too far for a polymorph.
Pardon me?
Wouldn't 12 miles be too far for a polymorph?
Essentially, if you look at your travel pace is whatever the speed at which you're traveling divided by 10 is how many miles per hour you can move. You have 12 miles to cross.
What's the speed of like an eagle?
It's like,
So no, it's polymorph.
I thought it was like 80? Let me just check.
It's 80 or 90, so it would get you 8 or 9 miles.
Yeah, that wouldn't really work. You'd have to use 2/4 to get there, which seems like a lot.
When we went, was it Hondo who noticed those shapes in the water, or was that Gord?
It was Gord.
Do you remember that? It's Gord. Did he ever tell us that? Yo, Gord, you here?
I saw them too, and I said
Okay.
something.
I
I mean, yeah, depending on what's in the water, you could just fucking boat it. I'm sure Hondo's itching to get back on the water.
mean, Hondo could just plummet into the water at some point. He can
Yeah,
breathe
but then
water.
he might just like never come back up, and none of us can go down after him.
It's a sacrifice.
Actually, I think I have one. Legitimately, I think I actually have a potion of water breathing that I never fucking used from like literally session like
10.
5. Like,
At one point, you guys had like 3 of those.
I know, but a couple of them got used.
I think I can't remember.
I used
think
one in the
you
Null
used-
Mountain.
You used them in the Carval dungeon, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Traveled down the well that turned into a portal.
Yeah, no, it's crossed out. I don't have it anymore.
I would rather save spells. I think you're right. Using 2/4 on this. Nova, Dow, you don't have any like polymorph or make cool ship spell.
I can transport us via the trees. Nova says, my abilities are more for our combat nature. We, truth be told, as a group, it was Tarathian who aided us in many different ways with knowledge, and Sylvanas who would aid us in transportation and extreme might and power and leadership. Many things, in fact.
No one can help push water around, can they?
Hondo can make fog. We have a cool jug of water.
Don't you know
I
if
wonder.
I know you're trying to think it will work like a fucking motorboat, but I'm really not sure that it will.
I wonder if you use it in the canoe and then put it on full blast behind you, if it would work like a propulsion engine.
Like a sea-doo?
Propulsion boats. Yeah. Now we're talking.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure it won't last for hours. That it would take.
I love how you knew instantly I was going for that
Your
insanity.
smile as soon as I said that. You're like, we have a thingy. It's like that's not gonna work.
Here he is. Lav can fly. What is
10 minutes.
flies 10 minutes and it's a third?
Like we have the carpet, but the secondary problem is flying seems like the easiest way for someone to spot you.
I thought boat would be like the worst way out of all of these.
So I'm
I
looking
guess
at
it's just boat and fly.
this
We don't know
map.
if there's anything in that water.
Oh, there was definitely something more south. Looking at this map, Kyle, can you confirm that the giant-ass island is the one we're talking about? Okay. There are some smaller islands that, like, You gotta tell me if they're real or not, if they're just there for looks. Or like we could potentially pond hop so that it's a bit of a shorter journey and we have to stop halfway. If we need to use 2 polymorphs or something like that.
If it's on the map, it exists.
I just can't tell if that's actually the shorter distance or there's that part that like juts out. It's kind of coming more from the north to do that.
God, that water would be freezing cold too.
To accidentally fall into, yeah.
So there is a grove of trees that is kind of in line with that little jut out at the base of the Cryonex Island.
Mhm.
If you traveled there and you look to the almost perfectly circular island there, you wager you could do an hour across that island, land, and an hour across. It'd be less than an hour. Sorry, the second journey would be less than an hour. But
Do you two know anything about these islands? Anything on there we should know about?
nothing beyond potential elements of ice, of elemental ice. They can sometimes spring up, and admittedly, there are some creatures of the water that may reside up there, but it is not our realm. I do not know it. Perfect.
Why don't we just head there now? We know. Like, let's head there now and see what we can see if that's even safe to cross, and then we can start making our decision.
Question is, though, do we need to bring a boat with us? I know we have the carpet, which can
carry
fit.
a boat.
Like, we could carry a small canoe through a tree, probably.
Yeah, that's probably true. We could just do that.
If we're willing to abandon it. We also, everything to keep in mind, there are no trees on that island. So our escape plan cannot happen from that island, because then we'd have to use those same spells or however we got there to get back.
That's legit.
Just something to keep in mind. So the escape plan may not even fucking work.
This feels like a suicide mission, though, so I'm not really worried about an escape plan.
We're not good. Okay, so let's also clarify that. What's our goal when we get there? I still think our best goal is reconnaissance, try to get some answers out of a stupid, whatever they're called, frost giant, or something, some kind of lackey. Start separating stuff out. We cannot go into a den of baddies that one of them kicked our asses already, and now he has a whole bunch more backup. We have to draw someone out. We have to separate them. We have to do something. Also, as I'm sitting here, we should probably fucking scry on them to see what's going on right now before we go anywhere.
We could also tell Titania what Baba Yaga said and then go. I mean, we know now what they're doing. He has the Ring of Winter. He's trying to get the heart of a snow ice elemental. He's trying to make the whole Feywild permanent winter.
For sure, but it might not hurt to look at how far they are into this process before we go. So
Yeah. I think we should scry for sure. You're right.
It's a new morning. Plus, if we go up and talk to her, she can bamf us there for free, and then we don't have to use one of the staff's charges, and then we still potentially have a...
It's true. We could try that. I'll try. I'll pull out the crystal ball and see if I can scry again on the...
Are you going to do the Jarl or the what's-his-face?
I know, I was thinking that. I think the Jarl, because I'm concerned about Mind Flayers being able to see. Like, Mind Flayers are scary. They use scary brain magic, and I don't want to try and spy on one.
That's fair.
So
Admittedly, the other guy might be easier to get in his head, too.
We know his name now, too. He's got a fun little name.
Do we?
Yeah, his name is... Tell you later. Varak. Yeah, I'm going to take the crystal ball and I'm going to attempt to spy on the Jarl.
Okay. Alrighty. What's the save on the crystal ball?
Let's pull it up. Oh, we're still listening to this very spooky cello soundtrack. Crystal ball.
Can you even do that?
What was your question, sorry?
Can I inspire you to crystal ball? Is that a thing?
It might help with the perception check.
I don't know.
Because usually, once
Yeah,
you do
I'll
it,
do
Kyle
that.
makes you do a perception check.
Kyle's shaking his head no. I think it's more like they save.
Okay,
yeah, for their
good
save,
call, Leah.
but to see if there's anything. I don't know.
If it comes up.
It's not going to help with the scry, but if you are trying to do something on the other side of the scry, then yes, you could try that for sure.
DC 17, excuse me.
Okay, so you have met the target, you have heard of the target, you know the target well. Well, you don't know the target well, and you have heard of the target, but you've not quite
worked last time.
Disadvantage to me.
I know his name is Jarl, not Earl.
It's still not
Jarl.
You do not have any of that. As you settle into your scry ritual, you take the time to look into the crystal ball, but unfortunately, nothing comes of the vision.
Dumbass save.
I rolled 18 total.
Ugh.
It didn't work.
Oh.
I'll put it away. It's okay.
Can help you in the future. There are save modifiers in the spell. In this case, it probably wouldn't have helped you. Like, you don't have a possession or garment, likeness or picture, body part, lock of hair, something like that. But those things can aid in essentially focusing the ritual. This time it was just straight roll, and I rolled high. Sorry.
That's all good. Why don't we go see Maji, Titania, let her know what's up. I also think we should talk about potentially her re-messaging the Unsealy Court, see if there's a change in their mind. And then let's go cross the icy death water.
Okay. Are you guys climbing or flying to Senelise?
I will just ride up Fern. And maybe take Laugh because she's not that strong. But these guys fucking put on a show last time, so I'd like to see that again.
Sure. It's just the difference of time, essentially. But you're all able to make your way up the climb and able to fly. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour by the time you make your way all the way up to the peak of Senelise at the actual court. Dahlia and Nova following suit in the climb, and everyone manages to make it comfortably. After about an hour, you make your way, and Titania greets you at the top, once again, immaculate and seemingly lost the edge of frustration and anger that she slipped up on yesterday. And says, I trust you learned something good with Baba Yaga, and clearly made it out relatively safe and sound and enough to sleep below. What have you learned?
We did. Yeah, it was pretty successful. We learned about all three Shadow Sons. My bloodline traces all the way back to Malborg, Archdevil, Queen of Hags, 6th layer hell, 5th layer hell, 6, my bad. And more importantly,
Troubling.
Lucius has the Ring of Winter. He's trying to get to Cryonax's heart with the Titan heart. He's going to create permanent winter across the Feywild and just make it like a cold, chilly hell.
You see her kind of just like expression drop a little bit. It's from this picturesque pose to a bit of despair, and you see kind of that shine luster fade ever so slightly, and the temperature around you seemingly dips ever so slightly, and there's this kind of cool wind that kind of sweeps up around you, and you can see just a little ever so slightly like wilting of like the flowers around like the flower crown that she wears. They just dip and fall ever so slightly. She says, well, that is A ritual perpetual winter, then. We have no idea if he started it, then.
That's where we're off to find out.
I suppose we won't know if he started it, but we will know when he's finished.
If he finishes it.
If. So you mean to set off for the island, then?
We do. We have a plan.
Okay. Well,
I will just say, perhaps it would be worth sending another message to the Unseelie court. Yes, she might think, your sister, that this works in her favor for there to be a eternal winter here. But it's all about balance here. Though she may gain power and you go weak, that's ultimately going to harm her. So, if that can in any way aid us in the future, I think it's worth a message.
I will certainly try. I make no promises, unfortunately, but I will give it a shot. See if I can persuade her into either sending you some aid or, I don't know, providing something. Taking a stance of some kind.
I think we're off then.
Before you are, may I speak with you a moment? Alone.
Of course.
The court up here itself is not massive by any stretch, but this immaculate garden, and she just kind of leads you off to the edge on the far side, kind of the western edge, and kind of stands just overlooking the edge, and you just kind of watch over the Euphoria lock beneath, glistening in the golden light of high sun, and all around, just kind of looking out over the realm of the Feywild. And for a moment, you are reminded of the Feywild that you had hoped to see. This gorgeous expanse of nature and wonder, and the colors are vibrant, and its beauty is unmatched. She looks down at you and looks out over the same expanse and says, when we became intertwined, you had already in your possession a blade that you'd bonded with, a powerful weapon, and a beacon of light, and that suited you and served you very well. However, it would not have been my first choice for you. Now, with it gone, I hope you do not fear that I do not look out for you. This blade, Aetherius, the Lightbringer, it can only be wielded by one who has chosen to serve me, my court, but also all people, creatures, everything of the Fae. The blade itself must choose you. It is not truly mine to give. It exists as an extension of my bond with the Feywild and with everyone within, everything within. With the forces around us, the magic and purpose that guides the changing of the seasons and the direction of the wind, it is beyond even me, and it guides the hand that wields the blade. I cannot empower you with it. You must find it, or allow it to find you in its own manner. I wish to... Long ago, you and I created a pact, and in a moment of need, as you spoke of the other day, I provided you with extra power to aid your friends. In that moment, we spoke of a longer bond between us, binding you to me and to this realm, to bind you to protect it, and to protect those connected to it. If you take up this blade, and you swear by me you would serve both your realm and mine as my champion. When your deeds are done beyond the Fae, you must live out your life as servant and protector to this realm. We'd spoken of this long ago, and you had agreed then. And I hope this troubles in this realm have not frightened you away. I hope my outbursts and allowing you to see the true me has not dissuaded you from needing to protect the people around you, protect this realm and its vibrant life.
It didn't sway me at all. Just to be clear, to make sure my heart is true, it is to both the Feywild and the material plane. And I'll look back towards Brawley and then back.
She follows your eye for a moment. You see the edge of a smile. She says, some of those who serve, she kind of nods and looks towards Dahlia and Nova and says, they live out their existence within the realm and protect it, as Tarathian, Dahlia, Nova all did. However, others, over time, like Sylvanas, did not originate here, have families and lives beyond. It is selfish of me to claim you will only live out here. But you will live a bit of a dual life. Sylvanas made it work as protector of the Vale and protector of this realm. Castle Avalon became his home, a home of two worlds. Perhaps you will find the same thing and perhaps not be forced to make a tough choice.
I'll nod my head and smile really big.
Just remember, this blade serves the light of the Fae. If you fight for it and if you protect it, you will be rewarded for your bravery. If your heart is pure and your intentions honorable, my light will find you when you need it most.
I promise you, and to all the Feywild, it's not going to fall to winter.
She just looks at you, and you see just this glimmer of kind of what looks like a tear for a moment, and then it is kind of washed away.
You do, you really pack a punch, though, when you, turn and just hit me. Wow, really stunned.
Strength of the ages, I suppose.
You're not that old.
Come. You have many miles to climb.
I'll still look out at the Feywild for one last look, and then I'll turn.
The two return to your group. She says, well, where do you wish to be? Shores of Everbloom? Or the shores of Deep Winter?
I think Shores of Everbloom, as close to that peninsula out of the Titan Island as we can. We either make our way to that peninsula or to the island and hop over.
Very well. Once more, she opens up the tree before you, and you have but a moment to all cross through. You make your way through the tree collectively, find yourselves on the shores of Everbloom, but a few hundred feet from the edges of the frigid water. And that's where we'll pick up next time.
That's such a good spot. That's such a good spot.
That is a good spot. I hate to be back here.
Damn.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as the Wildcards arrive at the shores of a fallen ice titan, ready for a fight. There'll be a new episode up every Tuesday, so stay tuned. But until then, keep exploring.